setting is right. We are beneath the tree. The tree of life. Crazy sister. So we are going to talk about way far out things, and I've had a whole bunch of downloads, and I'm integrating a whole new version of me. I'm going to explain it if I can. Having so many downloads, and I'm just trying to catch up. So this is what they were talking about a couple years ago. So now I get it. Why they were talking about we got to be faster at integrating light, because it's fast. And we got to get used to integrating the light. I'm going to see if I can explain what's going on, and we'll see how we do this together. So just take a deep breath. There's lots of codes. Big energy. I'm working with the Ascended Masters right now. They're all around me. And the Archangels are all around me. And of course, my celestial teams that I work with. I did a bit of earthy color change here to ground me. See the trees? We're kind of matching. What they told me, I've just been doing downloads, 12th dimensional creators and the Archangels and the Ascended Masters. So here we go. So just take a deep breath and just focus on your heart center, because I'm giving you an activation while we're doing this today for those who desire now and future now moments, because you always know that when you come onto these settings that your higher self is intending you to connect with the higher self of your templates in the higher vibrational realms and the higher vibrational templates that you exist on, because you do. Infinite dimensions, infinite realities, infinite threads of becoming, infinite planes of existence, infinite planes of playing. There's infinite frequencies that you can play upon. So your higher self is guiding you to videos like this, synchronistically and not so synchronistically, sometimes dragging you kicking and screaming, because you need to expand the mindset and the experiences of who you are physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, etherically, metaphysically, multidimensionally, celestially, etherically, and on, because you are the multi-vibrational being that is you. And so just open up your divine heart space, and we're just going to focus on the chakras being opened up and spiraling. And we're going to have the archangels sit with each and every one of you to release any and all nefarious energies. We're seeking into the intention of the highest vibrational audience so that we set up a beautiful portal of love and light. And any and all beings that are not of love and light and not benevolent, then they can move on their way. They will not be affecting those that are of benevolent and seeking the highest and best versions of who they are in all realms. So just know that you are automatically protected and supported if you have the mindset and the purity of heart that you will be divinely guided to your highest and best vibration, which is why we meet. This is why we do this. It's for the highest vibration of who we are becoming. 5D templates, who we are becoming, letting go of the less than, letting go of the lack, letting go of subjugation, letting go of all the petty ass little karmic stories that make us who we are, that we celebrate and we honor and we garner such wonderful celebration on, because that's part of our offering today, is celebrate exactly where you are at so that you can open up that portal. Celebration and gratitude and happiness and joy, and finding those vibrations of joy, they help you manifest a portal. Hello, beautiful Claudio. Hello, darling. And so they were showing me that we're going to get more and more used to this vibration of fifth dimensional integration. And for those of you that have and work with higher vibrational dimensional beings, you can call in the masters, you can call in galactic federations, your celestial teams, your celestial beings, ancestors, archangels, ascended masters, all of those that you know that have been to my classes, that are always coming to my classes, that have listened to me for years and years and years. You're working with sects of higher vibrational beings. And so you can practice this. Anything that brings you joy, which we've talked about before, when you're in alignment of thyself and the relationship of who you are with thyself on the higher vibrational experiences, we're entering into new vibrational integrations. I'll go into it. I'm going back and forth, so just allow it to flow. Higher vibrational integrations of who you are as a multi-vibrational being. So another sheath has come and placed itself into your Merkabic experience. I'll go into this, just allow what I'm saying to have the Christed codes flow through you, into you, of you, and if you so choose, you can unpack them later. Now, we said in our last video about the relationship experience, about who you are as the higher self. It's so very important because that higher self alignment of your benevolent excitements, joy, happiness, practicing a craft or a hobby, those are the alignment flow of the pillar of light. That is the pillar of your existence that opens up. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Lots of spirits that opens up your relationship with those higher sheaths. So it will be, as we've said, every one of our videos gives you tips and hints and clues. And as you know, right where we are right now, what we said 2 years ago as the tips, hints, and clues, you're having to practice. I know that I'm having to practice what I talked about 2 years ago. The correlation, making sure that you're practicing as much as possible, higher vibrational intellect, because we're having to process the intellect at a higher vibrational quotient, because it's awesome. Quotient is what you're able to carry and process and integrate as the light itself within your multidimensional bodies. So again, that means multidimensionally, your food, your entertainment, who you have around you, all of those things affect your multidimensionality to process light. And so now we're having to see, it's becoming very evident, yeah, wow, I'm going to have to, change. You have to change. Change the circles you exist around, change what you're feeding yourself in every way. All of those things help you process light because you want your vessel to be more refined. And so what we're going to talk about is that the more that you can celebrate exactly where you're at, thank you, Holy Spirit, just clearing some sacral energy, because it's all about creativity, and your creativity is your higher self, is your source. The more that you can celebrate where you are at, that intention in and of itself allows you to automatically harmonize with a part of your higher self. What we're going to be talking about more and more will be very fast. It will be very acute to you becoming the higher self sheath of that. They call it an oversoul sheath. Every new phase that you go into on a higher template of vibrational co-creation, of vibrational reality, you are calling in an aspect of vibrational sheath that is brought over the Merkaba, if you will, or your multidimensional bodies, if you will. We'll go into it in my class next week. Our next class is going to be on the 9th, for those of you that still want to desire to join us in that class, because it gets very technical and it gets very expansive. Again, it's threaded directly within your soul blueprint. These are all divinely timed through divine God, because God is the one that activates that God spark within you, as within, so without, as above, so below. And as long as you're being the commander as above, so below, and as within, so without, if you're being the commandmentship of harmonizing all that you are and integrating all that you are and being the integration of greater light, then God will assist in ensuring and assuring that you are where you need to be, when you need to be there, how you need to be there for that next phase of your activations. And part of that is when you're stepping up into these new realms of experience multidimensionally, those sheaths have to come out. It's so complex. So I hope I'm going to say what I can and how it fits, because it's very complex. Those sheaths of codes that is an oversoul aspect when we're entering 5D, that sheath has to be there because of many different reasons, and it's all about your soul's blueprint and your destiny. It is about the souls that you come with, your pods, and the pods that you are connected with to always as the threaded pearl. They pull you up as you pull them up. However, because we're moving into a pivotal shift, there will be those contracts shifting at a very deep cellular soul level. That's two parts. Those that need more time to process and integrate because their pacing and their temperament might be a bit slower because they've chosen to wake up and they have a lot of density to move through, those contracts might be brought in a different way. And how a different way? In different versions of different people that you meet along the line. That means in and of itself, there is no separation. Everything is all one. We're all spirit in every realm, in every dimension, when the veils are thinning and moving away. Also, too, you're not always meant to be with certain people in certain degrees on the whole entire part of the ride, and we all know that. There's people that are meant to be there a very short duration. There's people that are meant to be there because they've had very ancient soul timelines with us, and they're popping out, and their new ones are going to come back in. This is for, again, it goes back to the soul blueprint. It's very dynamic and very complex. If you want a session with me to go through this, and again, in our meeting that's coming up, we're going to go through it more deeply, because it directly affects the multidimensional bodies and the fields on how quickly you're going to be participating and integrating light. These sheaths help you, harmonize light. They help you harmonize a higher version of you. so that it's kind of like it's exactly like making a sandwich. That sandwich is many parts and many layers. And as you're making it out of the things that you like, your intention, direction, and focus, that's how you create your reality. You're harmonizing with that sheath of you that is coming down to be that placement of nourishment and food that you absolutely need on your journey. But you have to actually eat it, that experience of that sandwich nourishment. That sheath is like your nourishment. It will give that it will give the elements, and elements, I mean elements, physically, tangibly, literally, and metaphorically. It will give you the elements of what is needed multidimensionally for you to move in your journey the way that you need to, based on, again, the multidimensional soul blueprint that is needed for where you're meant to be. And again, the soul blueprint is divinely timed, you and God, you and your ancestors, you and your soul, you and your higher self. Because again, when we're going through these pivotal shifts of dimensional plane, there are those that will drop off, and there will those that will it's just like a sliding into place. That's what it looks like. Because remember we talked about those cogs, and why we're talking about joy and celebrate where you're at. When you're in joy and celebrating where you're at, you automatically bring that pillar of light, the alignment of all that you are. Thank you, Holy Spirit. The alignment of all that you are, integrating your soul fragments and doing your tips and tricks that we've taught you along the way about calling in all that you are, clearing out the densities, doing your inner work, working through anything that comes up in your everyday life as far as triggers or blocks or hurdles, anything like that. Just journaling it out, talking to your spirit guides about what you're experiencing, and then align to a higher vibrational alignment. That alignment is what we're talking about, because it has to be coinciding with that sheath that has just come online. The sheath that we say come online, it is that higher vibrational coding, and it's like what I've talked about, the difference between me and an average human, if you will. And I'm only saying this because they're the words that we have. There's no judgment in any of this, and those of you who've been watching me forever know this. Me and the difference between an average human, I'm a conduit. There's very few of us on the planet. My interfacing, and I was designed this way, I know this. The interfacing that I have, those sheaths help me with that interfacing. It's a new coloring, if you will. It's like turning the page of a coloring book, and I get new colors. I get new designs. I get new interfacing. That interfacing is multidimensionally, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, etherically, vibrationally, liquid light. And I have to be able to process quicker, integrate it quicker. My refinements to my interests will become more refined, meaning that I'm going to have more specific fine-tunements of what I'm interested in, because it's going to be more directly related to my soul's blueprint. This is what I'm talking about. We're going back and forth, so you will catch on and you will move quickly with these experiences that I'm bringing forward. Because there is going to be, as we've all seen, there's many very important things that are shifting in humanity, and those that are meant to move into it's like a I don't know what the game is called. It's a flat board game, and they've got these little token rock things, and they slide very slowly. It's like curling. Those pieces, those little aspects of matter are moving into place. If you can imagine the top-down effect, right? There's many moving pieces. The top-down effect of a multiverse that's going through a multiverse ascension, as those multiverse energetic sheaths are being pulled out, there's a new sheath that's being pulled on top. And that new sheath is operating in new vibrational codes, as we were talking about last week. The template and the bedding and the omnipresent that we are existing in every day is being increased. The hearts of humanity are being opened and activated every day. The fields of everybody are being activated every day. More and more people that are walking around in light and in joy and excitement and knowing that there's change coming. Even if that change for some people might feel somewhat filled with anxiety or unsure, that's just a normal process of moving through change. That's just like moving through places you've never been through, but you're still going to be excited to look, right? So those are all just the normal vibrations of change. Everything is changing. The collective is feeling it. Although, for instance, my teachings aren't readily available to the world because I've been shadow banned. But when my teachings are available and ready for the world, there'll be a lot smoother and a very symbiotic, beautiful, accelerating norm right? It's going to be a new Schumann resonance because we are not no more in fear. We're going to be really celebrating exactly where we are because we understand that there has to be these big pulling out, and why they said that you're going to be seeing and experiencing those lower vibrational rungs that are just going to be pulled out, and there's going to be slotted in. It really looks like that. It's like a film, you know, those films, those flimsies, that flimsy is being taken out and another flimsy is being placed on top. That's what we call as a sheath. And those sheaths are multidimensionally, multivibrationally in the dimension in and of itself, because again, everything is micro macro. The omnipresent field is constantly in the toroidal and constantly spinning in a spiral. It's like a honeycomb. But your job is to be that infinity, to transmute what's no longer needed. You're in a new now, your new now impression, your new now who you are, your new excitement of who you are, your new celebration of who you are. You're opening a portal of the highest vibration, and the oscillation of the light of that higher sheath is coming and bathing on you in a much more refined and purified way. So this is why I said the difference between my last video and this video is like night and day, because I've had a whole bunch of downloads. There's so many downloads in my field right now, and I can only speak so fast, but I'm processing into the field so profoundly. Everything that I've been downloaded is being processed into the field. And the downloads are quite massive and profound. And again, why we go back and forth and say, you're going to have to get more efficient at processing light, at practicing higher intellect experiences. What are you excited in, and how can you go to a higher level of what you're excited in? When you're practicing your joy and your happiness and your excitement and your creativity, your expression, those 3 E's, 3 A's, those keep you in the alignment of your pillar of light. That means you're just continually re-rotating as the toroidal moves out. As the toroidal moves out, you're breathing in new Gaia light. Again, you're feeding yourself new elements. And again, elements is physical and literal and metaphoric. Those elements help you bring in that matching as close to possible. Because again, when we're talking about those sheaths, I'll give you an example. When I channel and I channel whatever being I want, the energies are there. So if I'm closing my eyes and I'd say I'd like to call upon Jesus. Jesus at 11th dimensional level, Jesus at a 9th dimensional level. I have those threads, and it looks like this, threads on a top-down effect. This is a top-down of your soul. You have access to any vibration that you choose, up to the 12th dimensional collectives. Every collective, the Jesus collective, the Christ collective, is a collective consciousness. It's not one being. The Christ consciousness is many, many beings of consciousness that just meld together. It is the Christ conscious of who we are as the collective matter in crystalline essence. Your light body is the Christ consciousness. Your light body and the information that's in your chakras and in your DNA is a Christ consciousness. It's a multidimensional liquid fluid, right? So when I call for whatever energies, I'm channeling through the Christ consciousness. That's how I access any vibration I want, because it's Christ consciousness. It moves in and out of time. It moves in and out of space. It moves in and out of what they're showing me. What they showed me was one of the downloads is that, can you bring back that sentence that you gave me just before I went on, Spirit? So they called it a folding in on itself. So the timelines are folding in on itself, which means that there will be let's just say 3 timelines of various 3rd, 4th, and 5th dimension. They're coming down. I'm going to explain this. Just go with what I'm saying. The timelines are folding in on itself, which means that, again, when you're celebrating who you are, you're giving that moment of that now impression the highest vibration for that highest potential timeline to meet you, because you're meeting it. If you're really down in a low vibrational experience, you're going to call up only what you can. So that's why it's always important to do the inner work, so that you can align yourself to the highest vibrational experience that you choose to be, because the vibration is your timeline you're creating. That's why we've talked all these years about really be very wise and understanding of creational reality, because you cannot get into a higher vibrational reality if you're not aligned with it. You just can't. You can't destiny swap. You can't switch with anybody. You can't do all the crazy things that we've been talking about because everything is vibrational. And so the timelines are now kind of folding in each other like a sandwich, right? They're all coming in each other. Your impression of now, your celebration of now helps you align with and of course we're saying this in general because it's so much more complex than this, but your now vibration of your highest experience of your medium, remember, because everything is an equation, and if 3 or 4 vibrational timelines, because we're in a multiverse, remember, slower vibrations are being pulled out, new codes are being placed in, and it's a constant toroidal of a multi-triad of energies in this now experience. So the more celebratory you are of you, you're going to hit that higher thread. You're going to be in as much vibrational match as that sheath that just came down to offer you those higher codes, because it wants you to be a higher interfacing. So you're interfacing now at this higher vibrational experience is going to be interfacing at higher vibrational energies. You're going to, I'll give you an example. It's not yes and true for everybody. This is just an example. And those of you that have listened to me forever know this. If, for example, there is somebody that you are not getting along with, your vibrations are not in alignment, so there is going to be the moving away of that person being. Even if you've had years and years of nothing but trouble, disheartenment, and all of those things, there is a vibrational higher version of that person in that higher, remember those 3 timelines I talked about? That higher vibrational aspect of them here is in a different body, in a different experience of itself, because the soul has infinite expressions of itself, right? The soul of that person, like it could be a daughter or a son or anybody you're having troubles with, if you will. They have infinite expressions of themselves, just like you have infinite expressions of yourself. That sheath that has now overlaid you is in and of itself helping you negotiate, because this is what it is. You're all negotiating energy, each and every one of you, your temperament and your pacing of who you are as a multidimensional being. Are you allowing things to be released? Are you allowing things to be transmuted? Are you choosing a new version of you? Are you choosing higher vibrational unified beliefs? Are you understanding the laws of one? The more that you're aligning in those very basic truths, you're allowing yourself to operate in a harmony of a higher vibrational you. You then get to play that part of that higher version of you that probably without my teachings and without you knowing, you would have just been going with the flow and following what everybody else does. But we teach you to be the commandmentship of you so that you can direct and intend yourself and start harmonizing with higher vibrational aspects so that you understand ascension in the various stages that it comes in. We are going through right now, before the spring equinox, we're going through, they called it, what did you call it? The first integration. Let me see if I wrote it down. The first stage of integration of a new version of Oversoul. So the first stage of integration means that we're hitting the first stages of 5D. So that means there's a new aspect of the Oversoul that has to come down and sheath itself around you. And it's really, it's like a bedding of codes. And that's why people that are trying to connect with me or try and get in touch with me or trying to, do whatever they do. They're trying to get in my energy field. They're trying to get in, do all these little weird things that they used to do. They can't anymore because I have a new sheath, and this new sheath is not penetrable. And that's how you earn that. You earn that right because you've aligned yourself with all the things we talked about. Because why I'm saying that is because that realm that tried to do those things, they cannot have access to you anymore because you're covered with a new light sheath. That light sheath, as we said, we're going to talk about it further in our meeting because it has absolutely everything to do with those of you that are going to go forward and be teachers and healers, and leaders, if you will, especially in the healing field. Those sheaths are part and parcel, and it goes a very complex. It has to do with your soul blueprint and many other things. Your healing capabilities, what you heal inside your body. I also had a ton of downloads about, we're going to talk about it in our meeting because in my classes, we're talking more and more about you healing the body you're becoming that new body of 5D. Understanding how light in and of the systems of God systems within God systems, how those God systems within God systems affect your entire body multidimensionally, how light affects your body multidimensionally, because that assists me in being a better healer. So I can talk about, I got downloads on the corpus callosum. And the corpus callosum is parts of the mechanism that helps fluidly communicate between both sides of the brain hemisphere, the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. And we're going to go through it. It's like a huge, profound epiphany that I had. And I was really, really excited about it. And this is very similar to the understanding that corpus callosum is kind of like the pillar of light. that pillar of light is what helps you harmonize so that you can obtain and maintain and sustain that higher sheath of interfacing. Because the fields, the omnipresence, because as we've talked about, the Schumann resonance, everything is changing, which means it's up-leveling. And that's why we've been talking about the correlation. You're going to start seeing more things correlated, more synchronicities, more timings with your vibration in that of itself, because time and space is imploding. They're falling in on each other. They're imploding in on each other. Now, we're going to keep going back and forth because it's all making this beautiful sandwich and this beautiful soup. When we say folding in on each other, you will, as an awakened person, those of you that have been with me forever, you're going to notice certain things and certain Ascension symptoms. Drinking lots of water is going to be very key because it helps you smooth out the shifts of the pulling out and aligning yourself to where you want to be. So again, that now impression that we talk about in our videos, go back to our videos, listen to our videos once a day so that you can remember the key tips and hints that are going to keep you aligned, right? That you're staying in that center of now, that now impression, celebrating your now moment, celebrating wherever you are. Because wherever you are is meant to be there. Whatever you're facing, whatever is facing you is meant to be there. And it's just allowing you that mastery to navigate all that is source. Now, we say that because as we're having this kind of sandwiching of timelines, there's going to be the kicking back. Because we all know when you go into something new, there's going that the natural elements of molecules and cells. Each of us are cells. Each of us are psyche experiences of micro, macro, God. And we all know that when your psyche is placed in a new heightened environment, your psyche has to sort itself out. Like every time I get a new level, like last week, I was activated into a new level of psychicness. So I was like trying to separate myself from people, you know, being in places where there's not as much people because I'm integrating that new sheath. And it's very sensitive. And so I have to prepare and modify the kickback because it's a kickback. Your dreams become more vivid. You get more, you're tired, sleepy, you turn off all the 3D superficial stuff. You're more aligned with only what you focus on. Again, your refinement to what brings you joy, your refinement to your craft, your refinement to music you like, your refinement to being outside. You're going to have a more refined because, again, those timelines are coming down each other and there's no room for the superficial. There's no room for the noise and the garbage. So you're going to be, again, that now impression, what truly makes me happy? What is there ready to let go of? These things will in and of itself move themselves out of the way because you're becoming that enmeshment that is now that equal match to that higher sheath that just came down to meet you, which is the gift of God, which is the gift of your higher self and your soul saying, wow, you did it. You went through another phase of human ascension as the lower energies are being pulled out and all of the corruptive energies are being pulled up. That's a lot of density that was pulled out from the underbelly of our collective. There's been a huge, I don't know if you guys have felt it, there's been a huge pulling out of really dark energies from our collective. You know, really the facing of and the looking at the, you know, what we thought was okay. You know, the facing of the corruption, the facing of certain leaders that we gave power to. All of that helps maximize the general omnipresent quotient of the collective. So it does a lot of good. You know, there was a huge, you know, in Florida, trafficking that got pulled up. Every day there's more and more corruption. People that are speaking their truths. It helps inspire sacred sharing of who we are as humans, to share your voice, to share your story, to be in that celebration of who you are. That's where it's so important, as we said before, is your relationship with your collective, your relationship with who you are, the relationship with your embodiment of no matter what's going on in front of you, you know that there's always going to be another sheath because that's God's promise to you. There will always be a sheath of your oversoul. There will always be a sheath of your higher self because God's infinite. You're infinite. You're going to go through infinite sheaths of higher vibrational experiences until you're nothing but liquid light. And that's the 12th dimensional experience. But you have to have these sheaths coming down, present themselves so that it can start harmonizing and melding with you and merging with you. What that does, though, and again, we're going back to the Ascension symptoms, is again, you're going to get hungry, more purified foods, fruits and water-rich foods, way more time in silent time. you know, turning off the noise, but just being silent and allowing the ancestors to speak with you. The veil is becoming more and more thin, which means those of you that are gifted in the channeling and mediumship, we're going to do at the end of this video, because I am a medium, I'm a psychic, we're just going to tune into whatever comes forward for those that so desire to talk with loved ones in whatever realm, whatever dimension they're in. Because again, when we say that somebody is passed on, they're not really, they're just in a different realm of existence, of being. So there is only life. There's life in just different forms of how that soul chooses to take on its next experience. So there's always life. There's never any really death. It's just, we call it death, but that's not really what it is. That being chose to take on its other soul experience in a different form because it wanted to do different learning. And sometimes the only way that learning can be done is through when it passes from its physical experience, because it's very dense and it wants to take on that learning at a higher soul experience. I'm going to have a different video on death because it's not really what we think it is. And we're going to be talking about the aspects of, again, how of the belief systems, the dogma, social structures have really limited us in what we think about who we are as spirit. Who are we? What do we exist? What exists in us? And the more that you get that, that's that higher sheath. Remember, because again, I'm offering you these higher vibrational wisdoms and intelligence so you can speed your intellect up. You know, there is only life. There's just various aspects of where that soul needed to learn how it needed to learn those lessons. It needed to learn those lessons. It couldn't do it in the physical. It was too damaged. So it will take itself out of the physical, but it will learn itself in a higher light school, if you will, on a different planet, a different realm, a different universe. It can do whatever it wants to. Once it goes into that spirit of the source, returning itself to source, just as we said, that toroidal. So it's always got that learning potential. That's God's promise to you. So you've got infinite aspects of sheaths that will come down and meet you because you need that interfacing. It's like the mayonnaise on a sandwich. The sandwich isn't the sandwich unless you got the mayonnaise, because it helps make the sandwich the sandwich. That sheath is that interfacing that helps you understand you're omnipresent. It helps you understand what that code was, what that download was, because like, holy fuck, what the hell what was that? Like this week, I literally had to literally just turn everything off because the downloads were so big, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? When you get that, and it's really exciting, but when there's so much in your field, you have to be able to have the confidence just to say, okay, let's download this, let's unpack this, and then sit and do your writing and do your journaling, because that's how you process, right? You can process in 3 different ways, as I talked about in my book number 1. You can do video recordings to process. That's what I do. I do video recordings. I talk to spirit. I'm always conversating with spirit because I know that when I speak, I'm an orator. My energy and my codes go into the omnipresent. So I speak all the time with spirit. And then I do recordings so that the collective gets, whoever taps in, now or future now moments, their higher selves will guide them to whatever they need to get the activations and the codes they need. Because maybe a year down from now or 2 months from now, they're going to get that activation. They're going to have a sleep. When they go to sleep at night, they're going to be activated. They're going to have a dream. They're going to remember. And their teams are working on them. So there's always I know what goes on in the omnipresent. I know how people evolve. Then you can do your journaling and write it out, because that's another aspect of you integrating what you've just downloaded from the higher realms through your multidimensional systems, through the pineal, through your now version of self, the physical you, the personality aspect of you. You're bringing it from the psyche experience into the physical experience. And then that makes it part of your tangibility. That's how you know you're becoming your godly self. That's why we said celebrating who you are is that creative expression of who you are. And that's why the 3 E's are so important, because it's manifesting your godliness. You're manifesting your Christhood, right? That's your Christ template. As Jesus said to me this morning, it's your Christ toolkit. You have infinite tools right now because we're in a new sheath. Make no mistake about it. The energy is faster. You're oscillating faster. You've got a new sheath working with you. Right now, there is never more time to heal something you really want to heal and to manifest you really want something to manifest. So again, use your Christic toolkit. Use the commandmentship of you. Manifest and receive, right? Part of receiving is just allowing. You're rich in spirit. You're deserving of whatever you've placed in the field as your abundance bucket, if you will, right? Your vortex. So again, those sheaths are your interfacing templates. It's helping you interface those higher vibrational codes. So those interfacing, it's like when I had that experience a long, long time ago with my bird family. And I had a vision of them putting those goggles on me, and I saw the matrix codes, you know, like the 01000100, and they were all like, it was green like my sweater, and it was black background with green, and the green dots and the green codes were following down. That's what the matrix really looks like. Everything that we see as physical is an illusion. It's how we put together the energy. And so when you actually understand that everything is energy and it's really malleable, we're becoming less and less physical. That's what these sheaths are. They allow you to actually, they allow you to see, to feel, to experience the multidimensional malleability of every new vibrational level. Because it's really becoming more fluid and more malleable. The veils are dropping. We can see, hear, sense, know spirit that more than we've ever done before, which means too that, as we said earlier, the physical body in and of itself is becoming more and more light. That's why you're going to have the physical ascension symptoms. You're going to have, again, because it has to do with the prefrontal cortex and the corpus callosum, is the way that we pack, we stack, and we release memory. That's going to change. I'm going to go deeper into it in my class because it's very profound and it's very complex. And I'm going to be studying more with the teams that I deal with, the 6th and 7th dimensional Pleiadians and the Arcturians. They're showing me I work with an Arcturian. They had a really cool vision about two Arcturians that were on a light ship with me, and it was me working on a version of me in my brain. So I was doing like brain surgery. But we did it with light tools. We didn't open up the brain cavity or anything because our eyes can see through matter. We don't need to open up the brain. We use the tools of light. We use the tools of sensing and knowing, and we see through matter. So you don't need to ever open anything up. That's what 5D medicine is going to be so different. It's not going to be opening anything up. There's no stitches needed. You don't need to open the brain to do brain surgery because we have the tools. Our higher vibrational eyes see through. And that's how profound it is. You're just like, wow, I don't have to open up my brain to do brain surgery. So they were showing me because, again, I'm learning how to split my consciousness. And because I was just really excited to understand about the brain, and I was learning all these different things about the brain. So, okay, well, why am I learning these things about the brain? So they gave me just a quick vision of me working on myself in the brain. Because I said, well, what does that look like? What are we doing? It's really funny how when you allow yourself to split your consciousness, it just blows your mind because you're like in brain surgery, in the 6th, 7th dimension on these light ships, and you're working with tools that are just pure light. And it's like, wow, I can do that. I'm telling you this because those are the expansive sheaths. As I said, I'm the elevator, press the button to get in. I'm giving you those expanded mind experiences, which is part of the biggest topic we have today about celebrating where you are. Those expanded mind potentials of me being on the light ship, it's in a consciousness while I'm on the table having my brain operated on. That's part of my interfacing that I get to play with now. And it's really super cool. And then part of the excitement of that too is to anchor it here because that's part of my excitement. Right, is to bring Earth these higher vibrational potentials. We don't have to be stuck in any of the stuff. And that's where, again, they said, because the corpus callosum and all of the prefrontal cortex and all of the stuff that packs memory, we're going to let that stuff go. And why we said you're going to be more and more correlating to really what brings you focus. And it's going to be more center directed, more center focused, more center intended. Like what makes you happy? Where's your direction going? Where's your preface, right? Where's that preface of you, the presentation of you, the orientation of you? That's where your teams are aligning you with those sheaths. Those sheaths help you in that pure alignment of, wow, I can split my consciousness a little bit more. If I want to know about something, they're showing me a version of me on a light ship where I'm doing brain surgery, but that brain surgery is on me so that I can feel what's going on. So I'm not fearful. There's no fear at all. People that are, I know most of you listening have been listening to me forever. All of you that have been with me forever, all of you have had celestial remembrances. You've had remembrances where you're on light ships. You have remembrance where you're going through the forest, you're walking, or you're, having a nice little playtime on the grass, and you're remembering your celestial experiences. So you come to these channels to ensure yourself that you're going to get those activations of, just sitting, doing your journaling, sitting, doing your integration, sitting, processing light, sitting, processing things that are wild and crazy and far out. But they're helping you become higher vibrational because those sheaths need a way to interact with you. Those sheaths are being laid on you so that you begin interfacing of yourself and repatterning yourself and training yourself to a higher vibrational way of being. So you have to start and training yourself. to be higher vibrational beingness. So that's allowing yourself to again, how you're behaving, how you're repatterning. Again, so they're saying part of the ascension symptoms will be, it's up to you, and why we talk about these things and keeping your daily entrainment tips, keep them handy with you, because you're just training yourself to be higher vibrational. What are you being urged to creatively look into? Is it herbalism? Is it health of something? Because there's going to be different healers for different things. Modalities of bone structure, modalities of lymphatic system, modalities of releasing synthetics. How do we cleanse the body appropriately? All of these things, whatever your gifts and skills are, whatever your intentions or excitements are, those are going to be your specialties that your teams are. As I said, I was focusing on my downloads that I was getting about the brain because my teams know that I've got a class coming up, and I'm focusing more and more on the biophysical, how the biophysical changes, through activations. I'm having an activation right now, so I'm really pasty. And how those activations, because when you're moving a lot of light, when you're moving a lot of energy, your body has to make up for it, right? So that sometimes you do get really pasty. It's just another ascension symptom. And in that, you're processing and you're integrating the downloads that I've got this week. So in this video, I'm processing a lot of the downloads I got. So this is why, again, I do my videos weekly, because there's a lot of downloads I'm getting. I have to process it. And the mouth can only go so fast. There's like a whole dictionary encyclopedia of what I was downloaded. Those interfacings help you actualize that 5D experience. Because again, remember, it goes back to your blueprint. What you're here for, what you were coded for, what your excitements are, only you and God know. Those pulsations when you're sitting at nighttime, you're saying, these are my deepest desires, Spirit. And you constantly go back to those deep desires. You constantly go back to what it is you want to help humanity with. Constantly go back to what makes you most happy. Constantly go back to what makes me most happiest on this planet. All of those are your pulsations that create that 5D. And that's where your guides, your God, your godliness, your teams, your celestial teams, the aliens on light ships, the archangels, celestial, whatever you want to call those beings that help you in your highest form of transmutation. Because again, I gave you that example of me splitting my consciousness about a brain shift, enhancement, they're calling it. That brain enhancement was me, literally, because remember, it's not something that didn't happen. It actually happened. You're giving, when those sheaths, this is what's so profound. So take a breath, because it's profound. We're gonna rock your socks. When that sheath comes down, you're thinking, okay, it's a vision, it's a pretend, it's a dream. No, it actually happened. I'm now at that level. I'm matching that vibration. Say, wow, that's like fucking awesome. Yeah, I can do that. Again, I'm entraining myself to know that that's possible. So that's the higher self matching. That's that sheath matching. You have to match that vibration. That's why, again, anybody that wants to play with you and try and take your destiny and do all that crazy low vibrational stuff, they don't even have access to touch you anymore, because you're matching a different vibration. That's why we say it's really important for you to practice the correlation, practice the entrainment of your higher craft, practice the entrainment of, okay, let's play today, let's imagine. Imagine, having playtime with mythical creatures. These things are absolutely real. Dragons are real. Unicorns are real. Bird people are real. All of these things are real. So start imagining your playtime with them, because it helps you match that God mind. The God mind is infinite. That God mind is your gold mine. You have access to that at all times. Those sheaths is that interfacing of you with your God mind. You have to activate it. You have to get in the elevator and say, no, I'm going to be godly today. I'm going to imagine whatever I can. I want to be the best imaginer for me. Nobody imagines for you. Only you, because your imagination, your spirit, inspiration, that's where that comes from, is your inspiration of the higher self in and of itself. It says, these are your destiny blueprint touch points, if you will. We're giving you hints and clues and synchronicities all the time. Are you paying attention? That's why your silent time is going to be needed, because your silent time will help you show where your directing excitement is going to be. Your celebration of the now is going to be that portal that you open through your celebration of now, through your gratitude of now, through your pretending and imagining of now. Every time you pretend, imagine, express, create, dance, sing, whatever that higher self expression is, you are opening a portal. Then you get to intend and direct it in the highest vibrational experience. And just know too, there's those that do it in very negative, and they're going to create very negative experiences. And I feel very sad for their guides and their teams and the angels that have to play babysitter on those people, because it's not necessary. And they make a lot of energetic mess when they do that. And again, they're going to just be creating a lot of karma for themselves. I just feel bad for spirit that has to play babysitter, because it's not necessary. It's just people trying to do as much as they can in the dark and try and affect as many people as they can because they're mad and they're angry and they're wounded. It's not necessary. This is where we're really breaking a lot of ground too. It's important that we talk about these things and not judge them. It's hard not to judge because you get affected so negatively by it. And it's not judgment. These are truths that we have to talk about, we have to face, because in the next coming months, it's going to be very profound. We are sending out pulsations of our fifth, well, because we're integrating that first level of fifth dimensional. When we integrate our first level of fifth dimensional integration, that sheath that comes down, say you're fifth dimensional now, let's start working with this fifth dimensional interfacing. That interfacing is 100% spiritual. Therefore, and this is what we want to talk about, we're going to go slow because there's lots in this packing that I'm unpacking for you. And you get to go do your rest on your own. When you become a new version of you in a multidimensional experience, that unpacking of that experience, we're talking spirituality versus religion, that will allow you to activate everything that is now residue that no longer fits. Because remember, we talked about the corpus callosum and how the prefrontal cortex packs information. It holds it there until you let it go, until you release that memory, until you release that psyche experience, until you release those things that aren't necessary anymore. And so the residue, that kickback, that energetic shakeup, the dark matter, all that stuff, because it was so stagnant in the same pattern, people wanting to hold you in those old patterns. No, we've got new codes now. This new sheath is here. It shakes out any and all that stuff. Those lower vibrational cords and templates and experiences, they get pulled out. That packing gets undone. This is why Ascension, every time you go through a dimensional shift, it's like a paradigm shift. It's not a timeline jump. It's a paradigm shift. We talked about that in our class. Timeline jumping and paradigm shifts are two totally different things. The paradigm shift is a multidimensional experience. You have to be adjusted multidimensionally. That's why you absolutely need your teams. Those of us that are conduits and we're very attuned, and we're like, if there's something going on in my multi-physical body, what's going on, spirit? And my teams are with me. We're talking about it. This is what's going on. Because I want to be on top of what's going on. What am I feeling? What's happening? Right? Because I'm very attuned to my body. I'm a conduit. Energy is everything. Right? And so that kickback has to be there, because it's you saying, yeah, I just leveled up, right? So there's going to be a kickback for you to say, okay, that's not needed. That's not needed. That's not needed. I'm going to eat more, clean out your fridge. That's when that kickback allows you to refine. It's that higher vibrational entrainment that you absolutely need. Because again, you want to be able to process and integrate light, information, and intelligence at a faster pace. The corpus callosum, we're going to talk about in our class, and it's going to be more refined to the functioning of the brain. Again, it's multidimensional. It goes beyond what we're talking about. We're only talking about the words that we have, but it means something different. The ability to be higher intellect is a multidimensional experience. And that's why it doesn't matter about how we define things. We're going to get rid of all the definitions again. When we talked about that sandwich becoming higher vibrational, it's going to allow you to challenge everything you thought you knew about dogma, religion, race, gender, all of those things, because it doesn't matter anymore, because you're in this new sheath of oneness. Everything that's popping out that doesn't fit, like that relationship of discord, right? That kickback, that's discord, that doesn't make sense. You get rid of it and just say, no, okay, we're all one, next. And you can flow into the idealism of oneness. You don't have to tell stories and try and make the compartmentalization fit now because you're in a 5D and you're trying to make religion fit in 5D. No, it's just all one. Because those 5D oneness aptitudes, those 5D oneness intelligences and intellects, they don't make sense when you're trying to define and separate everybody and put them in a religious box. No, we're all vibrational spirit. Everything is vibration. Everything is vibration. The car I'm sitting in is a vibration. It's all vibration. Just different aspects of tangible density, because we're creating the sandwich. It's the micro macro of God. It's your relationship. The more fluid, high vibrational relationship, if you're in training yourself to be high vibration, you can say, I can split my consciousness. I can do this. I want to play today, Spirit. I want to do an astral projection to the Pleiades. I want to play with my high vibrational healing teams. I want to see what it's like to heal my brain. So those higher intellect play imagining times, when you're in a responsible experience, you're doing it through your higher self. You're doing it through the archangels and your highest intention, higher benevolence, harm to none, interference to none. You're following the universal laws. Your teams are like, finally, right, let's get in and play. It's like your little pod of a light ship, your pod, and you get to go anywhere with it because your vessel it's your pod, it's your light ship. Micro, macro, same thing. So when that sheath comes in and you've just had that activation and you've had that vision was actually real. Because they were telling me, saying, Joanna, don't look at it as if it's not there because it's real. Want to get used to seeing yourself in these reality experiences. And it's only a matter of years before I'm actually doing that in a healing center. And I don't have to be trained to be a doctor. Because I have these experiences on other realms. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? You don't have to get a certificate. And I've told my clients, I used to have clients all the time come and say, where's your certificates to be a healer and a Reiki person? I don't need a certificate. I've been here 800 times. I don't need a certificate. I know who I am. Would you ask Jesus for his certificate? Would you ask Buddha for his certificate? You wouldn't. Would you ask Mother Mary for her certificate? Mother Mary, can you please give me a certificate to show me how loving you are? No. We don't need those restrictions. We don't need those redemption qualities that we looked for and what we were told in religion. No. There's no redeeming. No. God is. I am. Next. And? Can we get on with living now? Can we get on with creating? Can we get on with playing? Sit and define all you want. Sit and argue and sit and have wars all you want. It's not going to allow you to be higher evolved. You're going to sit in the same cycle of war. The more you define, the more you separate, the more you sit in the same functioning energy, you'll sit in the same functioning energy. You'll manifest the same functioning thing. Why? Because it's a relationship. It's an equation. These sheaths that are divinely timed, along with your blueprint, align with the divine timed shifts, because again, God knows God's plan. God knows what God's doing. Your teams and many of you that have been going through this have been feeling for some time there's something big that's coming. Yeah, we're pulling out a lot of low vibrational density. And the more that we align with our heart space, the more that we say, no, that's not okay. No, I've had a lot of injustice. I'm going to start speaking about it in a positive and loving way. I'm going to start adding value to the collective. I'm going to start adding positive action to the collective. Those start adding the vibration of the butterfly effect, if you will, and everybody gets touched by that. You're not going to sit and complain about it and do nothing. No, I'm going to take 3 positive actions today on how I can positively change something that I need to have changed. No, I'm going to be a part of this positive experience because you care about your reality, your relationship with it. That's showing God to say, okay, wow, she's ready. She's now integrating that sheath of experience, that kickback, that's all that matter, residue, if you will. You're just saying with pure acceptance, is why those 3 A's are so important. I accept and I honor and I appreciate exactly what I've been through. I'm happy and I can celebrate where I'm at. I'm okay with that kickback. I'm okay with losing and letting go of those people. I'm okay with losing and letting go of that idea. I'm okay with totally releasing that idea I had about religion. Because again, you're in a sheath now that is the first integration of 5D, which is 100% spiritual. Now again, remember, when I say 100% spiritual, this right here, this sheath comes on the top version of your chakra systems, right? That sheath comes on the top and then it filters down. That sheath touches that crystal point. Remember we talked about sacred geometry. That's what your, thank you, Holy Self, your over self sheaths do, the higher self sheaths do. It touches a point of your crystal, your Merkaba, and then it goes, it ripples down the codes, the light, the nourishment, the nurturance, the interfacing that you need to interact at that higher vibrational level. Because you've cleared away the densities in your chakras, you're now aligning when you connect with spirit, when you connect with your higher self, the multidimensional systems, heart, mind, body, spirit, and soul. You're interacting with your vibrational reality. You interact with the fields of the omnipresent. You know that everything is a relationship with God. You're now activating a higher version of you. So that higher version of you is giving you that 100%, yeah, I am spiritual. I don't need any other definition than that. That changes everything that is that quantum escalating Jacob's ladder. Down and up, in and out. You've now sent a new butterfly effect out into the all. Why? Because it's as above, so below. As within, I get to choose, so without. So again, as we said earlier, your celebration of now, you're making peace with the now, you're making peace with everything that has been, puts you on that medium, remember, MEDIAN, that median of, okay, this is my higher vibrational touch point. I might not be down here and I might not be way up here, because remember, we said that comes to the higher vibrational chakras. You're not always going to live up here. Nobody can, because you're human. Nobody sits in their higher vibrational chakras all day long. They don't. And anybody that tells you they do, they're lying. You're meant to be a free-flowing experience of anchoring all that you are through Gaia, through breath and intention, focus and direction. And you're not going to always live always up here. No, you're living from here. When you want to tap into those higher vibrational play times, imagining times, when you want to see yourself, practice splitting your consciousness with a higher vibrational aspect of you, and then you can go to 2 or 3, you have to be very grounded and you have to have these practices in tow. You have to be 10 toes down with what we're showing you. Just like people that think they can timeline jump, they start fooling, farting around, and all of a sudden they have a psychosis break. Because they're not practiced, they're not trained, they're not healing what's coming up, they're not healing those soul fragments that are very dense. They just want to practice getting on a timeline that's more happier because they don't want to face their karma or their shadow. So that's why there's very specific tips and techniques, and why my teachings are so invaluable, why my teachings are so important, and why these videos should be shared throughout the world. Because there's a lot of misunderstanding, there's a lot of misguidance, there's a lot of wrong information. And a lot of it, as we said earlier, is going to be within the next six months, will be a very big collective burp. What did you call it, Spirit? Kickback. Kickback, because the collective heart at a whole, because of everything that's been happening in the Middle East, and these are just all the smoothings out. Again, the federations and all of the beings and all the collectives are all with us trying to smoothing out these very, very poignant ascension juxtaposition points, polarities, right? Because we're getting wiser what is really before us, sensing out and discerning what feels right for you. That is a trigger point that has now shown, because a lot of the work that I've been doing on piercing through the fallacies and the corruptions of the various misguidances and the misinformations of nefarious leaders. I work with a lot of light on calling judgment on a lot of nefarious leaders, a lot of corruption. I'm constantly working with God, the heavens, the federations. I'm constantly working with light in those collective experiences. And what that's done is it's allowed us to have, again, that higher touch point, median, because that is now raising the consciousness of the collective. In the next 6 months, we're going to see higher vibrational awakenings. A lot of people that are going to be going through, which a lot of the light workers will be needed, as for their deep, very, very deep, especially if you're here as a leader and a master. If you're connected with, you will be. There's many of you right now, 7 to 8 of you between now and future now moments, that will be working and working your soul's blueprint into being a master, right? You're going to be mastering human experience, right? Evolutionary experience. And so in that, you're going to be a touch point for already having understanding the ascension process, self-actualization, what that's all about. Who are you? What do you exist within? What exists within you? Why is that so important? You get to redefine yourself in every way. God is always infinite in every way. You're not having to align yourself with anybody, outer experience or outer belief systems. You're creating your own belief system with God. Why your relationship with God is so important? Because nobody defines that for you but you. Mastery is that. The masters come, every master that has come to this planet has come with a different and unique template that they have anchored to the collective consciousness. The next 6 months will be a brand new template, and I'm one of those activations because I walk in that Christ consciousness anchoring point. And many of you that come to my classes do as well. That's why when we work together, it's so very important, because we open portals that are never really opened before. Because you know that you're coming as those anchor points to that collective grid. That anchor point will be for the collective to take really inspired self-reflection and observation about their eons of history of religion what they know or what they feel or what they are about religion, as opposed to being 100% spiritual. And again, we only say these are just human words. So the ego might get all excited. What does that mean? No, release the numbers. I'm just saying, in that one sheath, that sheath in and of itself is 100% spiritual. In that purity and refinement of being godly, oh my God, that's like the arm of my highest version of me just came and touched my crown chakra and my third eye. That purity just sends a ripple of pure light through my entire multidimensional systems, and it will kick back and shut out, and it will pull out, and it will like ripping a big sliver out. Anything that is not in alignment of that relationship, of that sheath being 100% spiritual, 100% my soul's alignment of my sheath, that is so refined and pure. It's like being touched by Jesus, like being touched by God. Mother Mary giving me a big hug. It's like, okay, anything that is not that, bye, see ya. It's like a body orgasm. And everything gets just like, that's it. That's not needed. Bing, 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 bing. Bye, see ya, see ya, see ya, see ya. Clean out your fridge the next day. Pack your fridge full of crystalline water. It's just like, okay, I'm ready. Next. It's really easy to let go of that, right? You just realize you were abused for 10 years. Like, okay, bye. All the doors, and you put up 12 locks. You're not coming back. And they can't even access you anymore. They can't access you. Right? They don't have access to you because your energy is just, it went through a 100% spiritual activation. So when we say 100%, that sheath is 100%. What does it do to the rest of you? There's going to be kickback. There's going to be releasing. You're going to go through a day or two of just crying because that's your self-forgiveness. Yeah, I have to forgive myself for allowing myself to be abused. Right? You got to forgive yourself. That's a process. That's integrating. Because if you're integrating this 100% light, anything that's not in alignment, my heart is hurt. I allowed myself to be abused. I allowed myself to be stolen from. So you have to make peace with that. As we said, celebrate where you are. It opens up a portal, and it allows that 100% sheath that just came down and accessed itself with you. That's a multidimensional experience. It absolutely is. It affects your cells. It affects your DNA. It affects everything. So that's why it's really important to, discern everything that is before you and what is it of. Again, you can do this as games, is what I do. If I just had that 100% of sheath that just came down, what is before me that is not in alignment of that 100% sheath? That's a good way that you can start playing with energy. Those that, play the games that are wanting to keep you in lower vibrational cycles, you get to say, no, that's not in alignment of my new sheath. Right? Hello, everybody. And so it's very far out there. It's very far out there. It allows you, as we said, there's going to be a lot that will come forward in the next 6 months. You're going to see it everywhere. We're just predicting it for you because it's time you have to observe it and reflect it for yourself. It's going to be ongoing because, again, that sheath, they're showing me a couple of you online. You're going to have future now moments are showing me 2 of you are going to have activations of very deep soul timelines where you had religious trauma. So that means either you were a nun in a nunnery back in the 1400s or the 1200s, or, in Italy, or maybe even in Lyra, where their religious or sect practices were very, very staunch and very controlling. Even Lyran had an ascension through their practices. It's very, very staunch, and there was not the liberation in it. And so they had to go through their spiritual awakening. They had to go through that point of saying, well, if I'm so staunch about it and I'm not giving myself any leeway to play and be happy, how is that spiritual? So all of these collective games, if you will, they bring us higher vibrational energies to source because it's all about the acceptance and allowance of just free-flowing source to be the highest creative experience. The more staunch you are, which they showed me in my downloads about the brain, about a lot of the damage to the brain, brain tissue, what is done with control and dominance programs, mind scraping that we talked about in our video way back when that's called You Are Supported. The damaging to the tissues of anything that is cult-like, very, really strict dogmatic type, even governments, even, certain sects of social experiences, those reduce the flow of the film, tissue, fibers, how light can get in and through actual matter. So it affects the brain, in quite a big way. It affects how much light can flow, the communication of light, the communication of God, the communication of the systems within systems, micro within macro, the holographic experience. Those 100% of that spiritual experience helps you release and cleanse as best as they can. There will be those that just have so much density and damage. They may have to you will see your experience one way, they will experience another. Because remember, how you perceive something happening is not how they perceive it. You have to understand that. If there's 100 people standing in the street and there's a light ship there, those 100 people will see and experience something different. There'll be some that wouldn't even see the light ship because they're just not in vibrational alignment. There'll be some that will have an interaction and a being coming down to talk with them, and others that won't. So it's up to nobody to say my experience was right or wrong. No, they have an entirely different perspective and a consciousness level than those that don't. I can sit and look at a forest and I can see things that somebody sitting right next to me can't see. Does that make mine right or wrong? No, it just means that my consciousness is attuned to a higher interfacing. As we said earlier, a 3D person looking through a telescope can see a star system and say, that's the star system and I claim it. Another person that's of higher consciousness, doesn't know anything about astronomy, can go up and look at a star system and call it something that other person said it's not there, because their eyes are trained to a higher vibrational sheath. They've activated more of their DNA. They've activated that compass on their DNA more. It's cleansed out that aspect that said, no, that's not possible. So if you think that that's not possible and you're only going by evidence and proof, then that's a low shutdown experience. That sheath can't be cleansed because you've told it that God mind is the most important thing to every alchemy in your system to become multidimensional. So if your God mind is saying, no, that's not possible, then it's not possible. Sit in your experience. I'm going to sit in mine. It's okay. Doesn't make it right or wrong. It makes that's where they are right now. Their level of consciousness won't allow them to see that light ship or that being that's coming down to talk to you. That's why some of these people will have that pulling out, because there's just too much density to work through, and they'll manifest themselves in their own way. Remember, it's between them and God only. You manifest your perspective of whatever happens, and you are going to get that perhaps not always necessary, not always needed, because it's up to you and God. And again, the soul's blueprint, where the soul is needed based on their ability, whatever that piece of paper is, their ability to process and integrate light. If they don't have the ability and the capacity to process and integrate light, that higher vibrational intelligence can't be understood. So they can't go into a higher vibrational timeline. Right? That's what your intellect, you have to practice your intellect. As I said, I was doing some downloads on the brain. So when I sat and I just closed my eyes, I saw myself in the light ship doing brain surgery on me. It was me. It was real. It was actually happening. It's actually happening. So my excitement to study the brain and do all that work that I did was a precursor, if you will, to get me to physically remember that sheath is actually there. Wow, I actually did that. If I didn't have the excitement to just do learning about the brain today and write 6 or 7 pages about the brain in preparation for my class, that activation wouldn't have happened. That's why I said earlier in my book, number 1, when you actually processing is a multidimensional experience. You know you're integrating what it's like, hey, wow, I had that vision, I had that download, I'm writing it out, and all of a sudden it's me. You're becoming that version of you that came down to sheath you. Does that make sense? Put in the comments if that makes sense or not. Am I totally losing you guys? It's multidimensional and it's incredibly highly coded. So be okay with that. Be okay with your ability to practice. Your ability to practice being higher intelligent. Your imagining is going to be really important. Your stretching beyond what was possible, clearing out that kickback, right? There's that dark matter because things are being pulled out, right? So what are you going to do to be a positive part of transmuting the kickback? Okay, well, I'm going to empty out my fridge. I'm going to get rid of all this synthetic stuff and all the crap I can't understand. If I can't pronounce it, it's not going to be in my fridge, right? Start releasing friends that don't align you with love and taking care of yourself. You know, if they're abusive, manipulative, deceitful, don't do a complete shut off, cold shut off. And you don't have to explain anything, right? You're being your higher self. Your higher self doesn't need to validate itself. Just as my guide said, I was being a version of my higher self. My higher self doesn't need to stop and look at me while I'm doing surgery on my own brain. My higher self doesn't need to say, yeah, I'm on a 7th dimensional Pleiadian light ship and I'm doing brain surgery on myself. And I know what my brain needs. I'm me. Right? Your higher self doesn't need to validate itself to you. You're just going to match it, right? You're going to be that sandwich. You're going to match it. No, I don't need to validate myself. I do brain surgery on myself and people around you are going to go, what the hell? But that's okay. You're leveling up now. You're a new rung on the DNA because your codons got activated. You're up that Jacob's ladder. Your DNA is just like Jacob's ladder. Right? Your higher self would never say, can you validate me now? Can you tell me I'm really good now? No. I'm on a light ship doing brain surgery and stop talking to me. I'm focusing. Right? That's when you release the need to, that's again, when we talked about the memories and it will be packaged and it will be compact and it will be all of those things because they're old 3D. That's how 3D was. We compartmentalize everything because we wanted to control and wanted to manage stuff. No, I don't need that anymore. You're very clear about what's needed, what's not needed. You're very clear about what's in alignment, what's not in alignment. You're very clear about being your higher self. No, I don't need to validate anything. And bye, that's my vision. That's not yours. I don't need to explain myself. I'm going to create a new book about this. So you don't need to sit like we used to in 3D and kind of work out the minutia of how you were going to talk to people around your excellence or around your vibrational intelligence or your vibrational 5th dimensional intellect. No. Why would you? Again, would you ask Jesus to validate Jesus? No. Would you ask Jesus to validate his ascension? Jesus, can you validate that you ascended and took your body? No, his fucking higher self took his higher self. Thank you, Master. And you bow with appreciation and gratitude because you just learned something new about the planet. You learned something new about being higher self. Jesus was in absolute harmonization, similitude with the higher self, and the Merkaba came, up goes. He manifested himself as 100% spirit. All of himself as spirit, not just a sheath. Just like I said, when that sheath comes down, it's 100% spirituality. It has nothing to do with religion. Religion packaged it in the Bible and they sold it as Catholic or Christianity or whatever all these terms and languages are. It doesn't matter. It still said the very versions of topical stories. Parts of it were absolutely true. Jesus was a master, walked on the planet. His vibration is still felt today because he's the Christ consciousness. He came as unconditional love. No discrimination at all. What killed him was discrimination. He chose to take his body. He was crucified and he took his body. He was a trained master at how to be with spirit as spirit. And so now we're showing you how to be spirit in your physical body. Release the terms and definitions and the traumas that some of you will have. They showed me. Some of you will have 7 to 8 of you are practicing to be ascended masters. There will be 2 of you in the next 3 months that will be having very deep releases that are needed for your ascension because you're going to be a part of activating the planet on releasing your dogmatic trauma. And that means you're going to have a remembrance or you're going to see something in the collective or you're going to have an activation that will pull up that darkness because it needs to be pulled up because you're part of the collective healing. As we said again, the next 6 months, the collective in and of itself will be seeing what is really religion benefiting us. And can we do it in a way that serves the all, that all religions can be aspects of the all, and call it religion, whatever you want to call it. When you call things, when you define things, it limits and it separates and it puts people in little boxes, and it puts people back in those old stories of repetition. We're breaking those patterns. We're breaking the dogmatic trauma. No, everybody is 100% spiritual. We're just getting used to trying to minutia our way around it, without all the traumas and the dark matter that's absolutely going to come out, because you're going to remember yourself, being in a nunnery. Absolutely having deep love of God and the teaching of God, but having to do it so much so that you were abused in a certain system. You have to release that trauma. Because why? Because you're going back into the turmoil of who you are. You're recognizing yourself in that deep love of God that you had back in the nunnery. Because remember, when you get activated, it's because it's the infinity. You're going to have equal positive love of remembrance, just like I did on the light ship. You're going to have because that's what creational reality is. We're teaching you the equations, dear lighted ones. When you have an activation, there will be equal opportunity for that positive, loving, wow, that was awesome. Then that deep pulling of that negativity, that subconscious is going to be pulled up and called up. Celebrate exactly where you're at. Celebrate where you're at. Because that positivity had to pull that dark, negative nunnery experience so that you can now make that harmonized choice. Okay, well, now that I'm 100% spiritual, how can I activate these new beliefs, these new perspectives of me as spirit, source, God, my higher self? You don't need those traumas that are sitting deep, deep, deep in the sacral and in the root chakra. That's where those energies will come from. Because those root chakra clearings will go and help the collective when the collective needs to be transmuting. Then those that are the 7 and 8 of you that are practicing to be masters, you are going to share those stories with the collective. Because you're not a master unless you're sharing. You're not a master unless you're out there with the 3 E's and the 3 A's. That's why you're a master. So you're going to find whatever way suits you is best for you to do your 3 E's and your 3 A's. Because you're a master. You're going to help others because there's going to be billions of them. Billions. Billions of people that will be moving through their religious traumas. What have we given so much power to? The Father. Go back to my Adam Eve programs. Go back to my Adam Eve projects videos. They're very, very pivotal for the releasing of religious trauma. It's all interrelated. It's all correlated. Our beliefs about Eve. Why the Eve energy now is being rebalanced and being rewritten. Because it was totally taken out of context and misguided. Again, they were wrapped and packaged in little ideologies that had nothing to do with what God was really offering. But now that we're 5th and 4th and 5th dimensional beings, we're now having a higher perspective of what we are. Yeah, we're totally spiritual. There has to be a highly divine feminine. Has to be. Everything within our co-creative reality is absolutely divine feminine, divine masculine. I'm going to go within that in our class. Huge epiphany about our health in and of itself. You can't heal your body in any way unless you are absolutely balanced in your divine masculine feminine energies. It's a part of the biophysical experience. And they'll be knowing that, and it'll be proven in years to come. I'm talking about what will be proven. That's what conduits do. Right? No longer validating myself. What do we want to say, Spirit? Is there anything we wanted to say? What did you mean? They're talking about touch point allocations. What does that mean? Okay, so when the, so the sheath comes down. Again, touch point allocations, your DNA got activated, your multidimensional systems get activated, you're flushing out, kickback of the densities. You're then facing it. That's when you're doing your actual work. You're sitting down with a journal. Okay, I got triggered with that today. I got triggered with that today. Was that the same thing? Because you're not going to get activated in 10 things at once. So this is when you're doing your work, you get to know yourself. You get to know what you're going through. Yeah, okay, the things that are coming up to me is all about being dominated and controlled in this one particular area. Let's pull that wound and let's face it. Let's do some journaling. Let's do some sound healing on this. Let's move the energy, right? That's doing the work. If it's a religious trauma, you're going to have You're going to manifest, because your soul is manifesting it for you. You're already telling yourself this. They're showing me your stories. You're going to manifest arguments and facing of those in your family that want you to stay stuck in their belief systems. And you're going to manifest your own soul's prescription to be released and liberated. You're prescribing to yourself from the higher self. If you're aligned, you're doing the work, you're going to say, okay, I'm precognating that I'm going to manifest something to come about because these issues have been there and there's been no resolve. So there will be a last flushing out. That's very similar to those that manifest a car accident. That car accident is the last flushing out for you to sit down and take a nap, for you to sit down and face what you need to face, for you to sit down and take a knee because your knee just got whipped off. There's lessons and metaphors in everything, and Spirit will show you in whatever way it can if you're listening and tuned in. And so we ask you, who are you? Do you know that you have the capacity to carry higher intelligence of the higher self, the soul self, and the sheaths of your oversoul? Yes or no? Do you understand that you can be activated in a multidimensional way, a biophysical way that touches on everything that you are as a soul? Yes or no? Do you know that when you get activated, that it's activating every other aspect of you within the omnipresent? Yes or no? Thus, then, therefore, dear lighted ones, in the higher intelligence and the intellect that you are, as now higher vibrational beings, because they're showing me, your brain, physical brain, how your brain functions, the mind itself, will be clearing away density the more that you practice being higher intellect, because you're a celestial, alien, cosmic, all these aspects of who you are as one. The more that you align yourself with light, the densities release. You don't need those staunch beliefs anymore. And when those family members come and approach you, and they come in an attacking way, you can sit very present in your higher self and you can say, that's where you are. I choose to be me now. Thank you. I respect you where you sit. Move on. I choose my life for me. I choose my beliefs for me. Thank you. Sit where you want to sit. I choose me. And reclaim your power so that your family knows that you're not going to be wishy-washed back forth of their beliefs that are not necessarily who you are anymore. That's how you know that you're ascending, because you can no longer go back to who you used to be. You cannot be manipulated anymore. You won't be blackmailed anymore. You won't be enslaved anymore. You won't be lied to anymore. You won't be stolen from anymore. No access. And you actually state that. These people have no access. They can no longer take, rape, steal, and hurt me. They don't have access because I'm worthy of better. I'm a higher vibrational being. I have stated it to the omnipresent. Therefore, thus, then it must come back to me in return. That's living as the higher self. We're teaching you how to be higher intellect. Can you see yourself, dear lighted ones, in another experience of a higher vibration, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th dimensions, 13th dimensions? They're now showing me that there are 14th dimensional portals that the 12th dimensional beings are now expanding into. Everything's expanding. The multiverse is expanding. Lower vibrational timelines and lower vibrational experiences are being pulled out. Threads being pulled out, offered back to source, harmonized back to source through the toroidal, and we get to be something new. You get to choose who you are. Who are you? Are you practicing the 3 A's or you're practicing the 3 E's? That's who you are. And be okay to stand up to people that treat you like crap. Because they're a version of you that's testing you. Are you going to stand in your godliness? Are you going to stand in that higher self aspect? Are you going to break the chains of conformity? Are you going to break the chains of being suffocated and suppressed? Are you going to break the chains of your traumas? And you get to say yes or no. You can't sit on the fence anymore. You can't pretend, well, maybe I'll do it next week. No, your higher self is manifesting a touch point experience where you get to choose your reality. Are you going to choose to be higher self? Are you going to choose to be light? Are you going to choose to see everything as all one? Are you going to choose to be a higher vibration of 100% spirituality? You're no longer going to be defined by the lower vibrational experiences of your dogma trauma and people telling you who you are, people telling you that it's not okay, people telling you that's not okay that you do that or believe in that. Who says? Who the hell are you? That's from your Bible or your prescription or your church. No, I get to be who I am. And why would God only say, no, one person is going to be right about what God is and how God can be practiced? No, the Lyrans have a different way of practicing source. Pleiadians have a different way of practicing source. The insectoids have a different way of practicing source. The ants and the insects do. They simply know their place as God. They simply know their place as who they are. So why do we have to define ourselves and start separating and hating? Because that's what they taught us. That's where they showed us. If you don't bend, if you don't say this, if you don't say that, it's not in our book, it's not accepted. Well, no, you don't accept you. You're rejecting you. I choose to be fully accepting of me. I'm talking right to God. And my higher self doesn't need to validate myself to you. You're not aligned with me. Goodbye. And you can be okay in saying that. Because families will trigger you. The social connective will trigger you. The governments will trigger you. No, it's got to be like this, this, and this. Bullshit. No, I am who I am. And next. I've called out how many things that have happened over the past 6 years. And all they did, as opposed to just getting in alignment of their own higher self experience and why I was placed before everyone to heal and to face who they were as higher vibrational beings and giving themselves opportunity to be a part of the oneness factor, give themselves opportunities to alter course and be their higher selves and be the ones that books can be written about and be the ones that came up out of subjugation and suppression and didn't take the money to be a lower vibrational person when they're hurting people. No, I'm going to stand up and I say, no, that's not right. I want to be a part of integrity. I want to be a part of higher intelligence. And I gave a whole bunch of people divine soul testings that I can now stand proudly on. My lesson is today, I'm going to celebrate exactly where I'm at. Because even though those 50 plus people, more than that, way more than that, were testing me to see that I could be taken out, the assassins and all the hit people that were trying to do whatever they were going to do with me. It doesn't matter their agendas or programs. I gave them all deep, profound soul lessons to break out of their traumas. How many people actually chose that? How many people actually chose to do the right thing and bring truth? How many people actually chose to do the right thing and return the monies? How many people actually chose to say, know what, Spirit? I want my soul to be on the right path. I want to absolutely make a difference on this planet because I want books to be written about me. When you stand up and you do something, even if your voice shakes, you absolutely say what needs to be said because corruption is fucking cancer. It's about domination, control, and enslavement. What program are you going to be with? There's no judgment either way, but there is no fence sitting. Are you going to show your soul that you are validation of the higher intelligence that is love and unity, yes or no? It's very easy. A yes or a no. Do you want to play corruptive games? Do you want to play corruptive plotting and planning and back and forth where you know that your soul is just absolutely going to be eaten alive by darkness? What is it? Because that's hate. Hate is cancer. You're either going to face it and clear it out, or you're going to take a lead and say, no, I'm going to speak truth. I don't know what the ramifications are, but I know if I'm speaking truth, as I said in my post this morning, when you align with your higher self, when you align with doing what's right, and you feel that ache inside your body of doing those 3 right things every day, you are saying to yourself, I accept myself as a spiritual being. I accept myself as godliness. I accept myself as higher vibrational being. I absolutely know that the universe will match me in equal measure, and I will be protected however I need to be. Doesn't matter if there's a tribe of 1,000 of the gangs and the cults and the misogynists that says no, women have to be beneath us. We're going to show them a lesson and we're going to make them bow to us. We're going to make sure the women are dominated by us, that we're the ones that lead the planet. And we're going to make people buy and send money back and forth to the corruption so that none of their justice courts will ever be heard in court. And we'll always be the winners and we'll always be corrupting and we'll have underground pornographies and underground takings and romance schemes, all the bullshit that goes on. Infinite amount of billions of dollars of corruption. And you can be that one person against 1,000 because you're aligned with God, because you're aligned with the legions, because you're aligned with the masters, you're aligned with the angelics. No, I'm going to go in and I'm going to speak truth. The ramifications will be exactly equal to that truth. I know that. I walk with God. That's why I'm here. That's why God places me here, because I have the damn guts to say what needs to be said. There's a lot of very important people with a lot of official titles that do nothing but degrade humanity. I'm calling you out, and I will see you in court. And I'm going to be a part of making new laws where psychics and empaths and teachers and healers, we will absolutely be protected and supported, because there are those people out there that want their children not to be sold to the sex trafficking rings. They don't want their children's light to be harvested to dumb underground people that think because they have woundings that they're going to start doing spell work and voodoo to take the children's souls. They have no fucking right. I call you out. Who's going to talk to these people when they see a liar standing before them and they're doing nothing but siphoning the light out of them? And they're trying to get them on their dark side to come and play with the dark people. Fine, go play with the dark people. I know you exist. You're not touching my soul. Not this realm, not any realm. Sit down, Satan, sit down. I see you. And I will call you out. And I'm going to keep calling you out until this planet is bathed and there is no more underground. Every nefarious leader that thinks they are plotting and planning agendas for humanity to be controlled, I'm calling you out right now. We see you. You can choose to alter course and be a part of healing your human collective and your human lands. Or not. Either way, the divine plan is moving forward. Your agendas don't mean anything to us. Humanity deserves rightful leaders, teachers, and speakers of thy higher truth. And many have been given the opportunities, and many have done what? What have your leaders done, dear lighted ones? The ones in your communities that call themselves leaders. And they do as much as they can to hide the truth. Is that a leader, dear lighted ones? Can you face what you have done, and can you face what you are and say, no, today I'm going to be a higher version of me? Why? Because I want to match my soul. I want to match the intelligence of my soul. I want to match the beauty of my soul. When I got touched by Jesus, every part of my cells wanted to change. That's a higher version of me. Why can't I? No, I earned that. And my truth is ever more present. Why? Because I'm pure. That's why, my friends. I'm giving you recognition. I'm giving you proof and validation. When you harmonize with that higher self aspect, everything before you becomes very clear. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. Thank you for your perspective. Goodbye. I'm one with you, but I'm going this way. And you know who's standing before you speaking truth or speaking a bunch of nonsense? And sometimes they won't even come before you. Why? Because the vibration is just too scared and too rippled in their woundings, and that's okay. We have compassion for you. But you ain't touching my light. I got a new interface in dear lighted ones because I'm a special human. I'm so special, and I'm going to call myself that because I've earned it. I'm a great vibrational being of the heavens, of the celestials, of the aliens, and of the humanoids. I can speak with energy in any way that I so choose every time I just want to turn it on. I want to see myself somewhere, I'll see myself somewhere. Why? Because I'm validating myself as a higher self. Ain't no religion going to teach you that. Ain't no religion teaching you about your chakras. Ain't no religion teaching you about your godliness. No, they're telling you to put yourself down and bow while they go in the back rooms and throw hate all over the place. While they go in the back rooms and touching on children. How's that godly, my dear lighted ones? Are you going to speak it and set your soul right now? I'm giving you an opportunity. Will you set your soul right? Will you be a part of your higher self's plan for you? Or will you play the fence again and sit and be ostracized in the agendas of enslavement and blackmail? No matter what it costs, you bring truth. Because you're telling yourself, you're telling creation. I know there's a few of you right now. There's a few of you right now. There's 2 of you. 2 of you will be sitting in jail cells, and 2 of you will need this for your own redemption. Future now moments, right now. Because when you align with your higher self, the way will be made for you. And if you are convicted of something you didn't do, you'll be made a way out. Why? Because you have chosen with God 100% to be your godliness and say, no, I'm going to speak where it was spoken to, and I know there was not injustices done. And I'll be the one that breaks those systems of incorrect corruption, of the officials that take oaths to take care of their people. Where is that okay on a planet of higher ascension intellect? If you are a person in the collective and you have taken money for doing harm to another, doing harm to the innocent, bringing harm to the innocent, taking from the innocent, stealing from the innocent, degrading the innocent, playing games with the innocent, delaying the innocent, derailing the innocent, you are not a leader. Get the hell out. And we will call you one by one, foot by foot. If you will walk with your people hand in hand, foot by foot, then stay in that ground. And you know you've done nothing wrong. You've done your best every day you get up. But there are those that absolutely, every time they wake up, they seek to hurt and to kill. And they seek to make people feel less than. They seek to make people feel no more. Your religion's not my religion, therefore I'm going to throw a bunch of hate and magic at you. Okay, so you do that next. You're still going to have to heal, my love. You're still going to have to look at yourself and heal those beliefs about being less than and greater than, because it's just a little wound. Next, we're showing you how to be one, delighted ones, because many of you are practicing to be masters, and you're going to be faced every time you wake up. Are you going to speak what needs to be spoken, even if? Are you going to stand with the one that needs you to stand with them, even if? When you know that heart before you is pure as gold. When you know that heart before you has done nothing wrong. When you know that nobody's given to that person before you but you. When you reach your hand out and say, I am your brother and I'm your sister. You've been treated horribly. How can I be of assistance? As Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount, in all the ways that I was encaptured and enslaved, in all the ways that I had no food, in all the ways that I had no clothes, I knew you not. And for you would choose to only know me when I'm making my way and I'm celebrated. I knew you not. I fed you when you were full and fat. And you left, and you came back and you fed some more, and you left. And you only come back when you want to be fed. And then there are those that come back all the time, and they give because they are a part of the Christ. And they are being a part of the oneness factor on this planet. And so, dear lighted ones, make peace with that which is, saying goodbye to that which knew you not. When you stood in your truth, and you stood in all that you are, and you stood in the voice of who you are, and you spoke your passions of the holy light, and they chose to know you not. They wanted to bring you down to their game and their planes of discrimination and separation, because they think their way is better. So send them love and compassion, okay. I'm at peace with you. What is that in your day that truly knows you, dear lighted ones? What truly knows you? Let's take this in the sermon. The Holy Christ is with you here today. Thank you, Holy Mother Mary. Gaia knows me. When I breathe with Gaia, everything is perfect and real. And she shows me visions that I've never seen before every time I close my eyes. Gaia knows me. The elementals know me and they come to play with me and they're seen in my videos. The elementals and the fairies know me. And the little gnomes will play when I go on my walks and they'll pop themselves out from tree stumps. Animals know me. They follow me everywhere and the birds sing to me every day. Animals know me. Children know me because they can see my vibration and my aura. I love them so. Gaia knows me and God knows me. There's interfacing with God and all things that are pure and innocent. And it makes me so very sad that we treat our planet and we treat our resources and we treat our children so very sadly. And it's my purpose to speak about it until the density is no more. For when was it, dear lighted ones, that the children stand before us on their day and on their Sermon of the Mount, every single child that said, when I was in need, you knew me not. When I cried out in pain, you knew me not. When I said I'm seeing things and feeling things and experiencing things and you'd not listen to them, they did not hear your cries of saying, come here, child, let me just counsel you and make sure that you're safe. When the children needed to be held safely without being touched inappropriately, you knew them not. And therefore the meek shall inherit the earth. We've been teaching these things for thousands of years, dear lighted ones. And it is time for the shifting. What really knows you and who do you know? Know thyself, dear lighted ones. My relationship with God is so beautiful and blessed. My relationship with food and breath is blessed. I know my breath and I know God. My body is blessed and I know God. My celestial visions are blessed and I know God. I know God that is beyond books and Bibles and scriptures and text. I know God. Where all animals and all species have an aspect of God and they tell me stories of God. That's what Jesus did. If you cannot understand the heavens here on earth, how are you going to understand the heavens in the higher realms? Can you imagine higher and greater things? Can you imagine things beyond what you've been told and taught? Can you allow yourself to have all gratitude for all things of the past, but let them go with graciousness, with celebration of what you have known and been? Can you hold everything in honor and release everything that has been enslaving to you and debaucherous of you and harmful of you? Can you make peace with it and say, thank you for the soul lessons? I honor you because I've been the master who I am today because of those soul lessons. As hard as they were to learn, as hard as it was to go through that abuse, I thank you so very much. It's made me stand even taller than I am today because guess what, dear lighted ones? This is your Sermon on the Mount. What knows of thee? What knows of thee? I knew myself today and I said what needed to be said. I don't care who's listening. Because it needs to be said. Because without that purity, without that clarity, without that surety, that density will be there. And my purity will pierce it, dear lighted ones. And that's why they know they come back to see what's going on next. Because my purity will pierce that which is untrue. It will pierce that which needs to be faced. Yes, you need to face that. You keep allowing yourself to slip to lower vibrations of nonsense. That's your choice. And there is no judgment, but there will be that time that your soul will say, what thee knows of thee? Will you stand up for your spirit when it needs to be? Will you stand up for the body that needs to be? Will you stand up for the children and the women when it needs to be? Will you be that healed divine masculine that's so very needed on this planet? Where you are balanced in your intuition. You are balanced in being a good man. Where you will never ask your woman to bow to you. While you have 8 other women or 2 other women or 3 other women sucking on your dick. How dare you? A divine healed woman shall not bow to you, for you are not holding yourself in honor and integrity and divine sacredness. These things need to be said, dear lighted ones. Let's pierce through the garbage. It needs to be said. Do you hold thyself high, yes or no? Hold yourself on that mountain, dear lighted ones. If you hold yourself high, these are very easy questions. It makes you face who you are, dear lighted ones. Isn't this fun? Because when you do, you're clearing away the density and that kickback that will keep kicking back until you face it. Your leaders every day are showing you it's kickback. How much of your leaders, dear lighted ones, when you're speaking of the Sermon on the Mount, dear lighted ones, you'll see the reflection and the correlation every day. That's why we talk about it when we come on these videos. Do the leaders speak of their very first sentence and their very first statement of passion, of intention, direction, and focus, of healing thy people and lands? Yes or no? Are you attuned with higher vibrational intellect? Do you understand that you can be and experience anything that you are as love? Absolutely, love is the portal. Love is my lightship. And love is the mechanism of E equals MC squared to transmute whatever it is before me. 3 A's, 3 E's. I am that I am. I am the vibration of love. And I see and I say and I speak that which is not true and true and true. For if there is a truth, there is things in the field that are untrue. Only through your experience, because other people have a different experience. That's okay. Don't judge that experience. You're judging what is of right in front of you. No, I'm saying this is going on. It needs to be discussed. It needs to be faced. It needs to be acknowledged. Why has this been okay for you? When the children say to you, you have known me not. What does that say about the parenthood? What does that say about the mentorship? What does that say about the role model as who you are, as the ambassador of these children, of these divine children of light? Are you a great role model for the divine children of light, delighted ones? Are you empowering them to be of their higher self and their highest intellect? Are you empowering them to imagine? Are you empowering them to go outside the box? Are you empowering them to break through conformity? Are you empowering them to know themselves as their highest healer? Are you empowering them to know that they have a higher self and they should be aligned every day? Are you a good role model? These are higher intellect ways of behaving and entrainment. Are you on the Sermon of the Mount? This is the sermon, delighted ones. It can be with you anytime. The metaphors and the stories and the vibrations are just another tangible exploration of the Holy Christ living through in this moment, saying, there's different energies on the planet now. Let's talk about a new sermon. Still there. That Sermon on the Mount was the exact experience of discrimination Jesus spoke of. Talking about it in the same way, just different variations of discrimination. Discrimination of the children, they're being taken advantage of and sexualized. How's that okay? Did you know the Christ in those situations? Did you treat all as one? Did you treat the brother and thy neighbor as one? Did you love thy neighbor? Did you speak truth when it had to be spoken truth? Did you say that's wrong when the officials are taking money to make things go away because the innocence deserves to be heard? That the justice and the truth tellers deserve to have equal, fair voice and pay? Did you say something? Did you stand up? Did you do what is right? The children are showing you. I knew you not. You're not a good leader for me. I have been saying these things for 6 and 7 and 8 and 10, 16 years. I'm basically, blatantly, obviously saying what's there. And then you want to punish me and discriminate me because I'm saying what's really there. You made it. You chose it. You're the one going behind closed doors. You're the one hiding. You're the one in secrecy. Why are you punishing me? You're the one doing voodoo every day. You're the one doing magic every day. Why are you punishing me? I'm saying what you're doing. Now will you face it? Getting rid of me is not going to make any difference. That's why God is showing you. You will not take her out because she's showing you the truth. 5D planet will not have children being sexualized. There will be no human trafficking on 5D Earth. It needs to be spoken about. Break it up. It's not okay. Speak to the authorities in positive and loving ways. How will these children be cared for? How will these children be healed? These are your inspirations, delighted ones. Celebrate where you are. These children need to be healed. How? How can we heal these? You've each had experiences moving through your own ascension path. How may you be a part of positive co-creation? Will you do what's right, or will you wait for somebody else to do it for you? As Jesus said, when I had no clothes, did you clothe me? What was that statement saying? When you know somebody stands before you with something to be healed and something to be offered, will you offer it? No, it wasn't offered. The children are being ignored. I'm simply stating what is there. It's not okay anymore. We will not ignore this. Children are drowning. Why won't you lend a hand and pick them up, delighted ones? They are suffocating in the stenchness of the density of this planet. They need higher vibrational ways. They need to know about their chakras. When Jesus said the same statement in a different context, when I needed food, did you give me? When I was in jail, did you visit me? Who feeds you? Who comes to visit you in your darkest hour, delighted ones? When you're moving through a dark night of the soul and you have religious traumas, who's there for you? When you remember being touched by a pastor or a church official, who is there for you? When you're speaking of what has been done for you, you need to heal and you need to share your human story. Who is there for you? Do you get thrown under the bus and scapegoated, like Joanna was? Who's there for you? Joanna's been there for each and every one of you. She's counseled you and she's healed you. She has shown you the blatant and obvious experiences right here on Earth. And many of you, we see many of you, very, very great masters in training. Each day of you, there is 3 of you that have taken those tips upon you, and you have done action, and you have shown yourselves that you are a master, and you do want positive change on this planet. For Spirit sees everything. Spirit sees you. Spirit knows your intentions. Spirit knows that every day is a sermon. What do you know of thyself? And that means allow everybody to be who they are. God will place the appropriate soul test for everybody, because everybody is at a different pacing, DNA allocation. They're at a different temperament of who they are, as integration of light. They're not ready to let go of their biases. They're not ready to let go of their injustices. They're not ready to face their woundings. That's okay. There is no judgment. But there are absolutely blatant injustices by the justice system, by lawyers, by people being paid off in communities, by those people giving monies to those practitioners that absolutely have been told more than 100 times. Universal laws or not, you choose your destiny. If you are aligned with light, dear lighted ones, if you know anything about energy, dear lighted ones, those universal laws should be the first thing that you grab. It's obvious now, isn't it? Again, who are you? Who knows you? Who was there to clothe you when you had nothing? Joanna had been homeless for over 2 years because the people that had the money that were supposed to be paid back just refused to allow her to receive. And they think they're being funny, and they want to play God over her. They want to dominate, and they want to do whatever they want to do, because it makes them feel good. To harm a master and to play games and to change paperwork and falsify documents. And Joanna has proven to everybody, and through the very kind hearts of the few that are her clients, She has had food when she needs it. And although she went fucked and she got by, that was a soul test for her. Because on that day was a sermon that no matter how many times she cried and knew that justice would be somehow, some way, that none ever have an ounce of play on her life or her destiny, that whatever is meant for her, God will make sure it returns tenfold, because she held value to that knowingness of God. Nothing outside of her was needed. And as much as people want to play their games of dominance and playing and withholding and all of the mind games and the emotional games and the spiritual games, that is their soul test. And she passed her soul test. And that's why people before you will be placed. Can you transcend that religious trauma that wants to place another over another? Or can you simply say, yes, we are one? That may be your belief, and I honor you in that because it's God. And I'm going to believe this way because it makes me feel good and aligned. And I'm going to speak this truth because it's right for me. Even if that truth triggers somebody else, but at least you're breaking the chains of falling in line and being a follower to something you don't want to follow. That makes you sick and cancerous and makes you the darkness of all others that are around you. And you affect your environment. You affect the laws. You affect those that say, well, I guess this conformity of being paid off to make things go away and the injustice is never to be brought justice. I guess that's a new level of conformity. I guess having sex with children is a new level of conformity. And I say from the highest of the holy heavens, hell no. You've created a version of hell, dear lighted ones. What are you going to do about it? How dare the sacred being of the heavens with holy light inside of them? How dare anybody say that's okay? What beliefs did we have to say trafficking human sacred life back and forth was okay? Oh, elite officials, who's paying these experiences? Who's funding these experiences? Where are these resources coming from? Anybody in any moment in this time right now, and we see two of you, and we hope every day it gathers by tenfold, by tenfold, by tenfold. You go to bed tonight and tomorrow you wake up a new person and you will do what is right. And you will speak that which is truth because your soul relies on it. Because your soul is connected to 1,000,000,000 other souls. And when you do what is right, so do other people, and it's like the butterfly effect all over the multiverse. Because you will be back. You will have a human body. You will have parents and you will have children. And what timeline are you writing for yourself? And there's two of you that will be sitting in jail cells now or future now moments, and you're going to remember this sermon. Because it's what you know of thyself. Who are you? When it's your time to speak what is truth, will you speak what is truth in the power of who you are as spirit? To say, no, that was not okay, that was not right. And I know who I am as God, and I will change the laws today. Because every human life is experienced in of itself as being 100% spiritual. Who is anybody to touch that spiritual body? Heart, mind, and soul, and that spirit is forever affected. You got to place yourself back in line, dear lighted ones. Place yourself in check. Every aspect of life, insect, humanoid, non-humanoid, tree, water, soil, air, everything is sacred. And hallelujah. At what point do your leaders tell you, dear lighted ones, and how you know yourself a new true leader? When was the last time you heard a leader say everything is sacred? Where they're not placing agendas and money before the people. How many of your lawyers said, no, the people are far more important than my agenda? I'm going to bow to this today, and I'm going to say, no, I'm not moving this agenda forward anymore. I surrender this agenda, and I will rip it up. My signature will not be seen on this agenda. I will not donate a penny to this agenda. I will not donate a penny to that fund. I will not donate a penny of my time and my energy to this experience that degrades and humiliates human sacredness. And who are you, dear lighted ones? Did God know you? I'm telling you right now, God knows Joanna. God is speaking through Joanna right now. Holy Creator sees all and knows all. You're given test, dear lighted ones. Can you be forgiven of all that is? Can you celebrate and allow people to move on their way when they need to move on their way and you need to move on yours? Can you know that even if nobody reaches out to help you, even if nobody reaches out to give you food, even if nobody reaches out to know you when you need the most, that absolutely God is there, and what will you do? Who are you? God is not what you used to know in the churches, for they failed you. God is not what used to be written in scriptures, for that's failed you. You got to reach for a new level of God. What is that, dear lighted ones? God's everything. God's the breath. God's your tissues and your cells. God is your body. God is your heart. God is your dreams and your visions. God is the unimaginable right now, right now, right now. God is. God is. Your leaders will be aligned with what God is in the heavens. As above, so below, and as within, so without. If there is no within, there will be no without. If there is disconnection within, there will be a disconnected without. If there is no above, there will be no below. And why things must fail and fall. So who are you now, dear lighted ones? This is your sermon. Those that know of you will be of you. They know the vibration of your heart. You spoke it from day one. Like those that continue to show up to these videos that have been here for the past 8, 9, and 10 years. And they know that Joanna prays for them at night and sends them light. And sends them the angels for a little blessing. And they know that. And they return all the time because she inspires people to think beyond, to be more than they were the day before, to know that there are things on this planet that are a part of our manifestation, and we absolutely have the power to heal them. We absolutely have the power to write new laws that are in alignment of the universal laws, because we choose to be integrated with our galactic families. We choose to be integrated with all forms of color and man and woman and elder and child. Because we are one, all voices are equal. Why not? Who was it in anybody's rule or law that says the children's voice is not equal? Why are they not mentioned anywhere? Who said that? Who made up that rule? What church does that belong to? And this is why we say over the next 6 months, dear lighted ones, it must be. There will be much pulling and toggling, and there will be much kickback, because people will be coming very awake to the limitations and the staunchness of religions and how it has boxed us in to not giving anybody a voice except the top 5% and the top elite. That's what it was programmed to do. It's lost fact of the connection factor. It's lost fact of the relationship factor. And why it has become corrupt. Because as we said, if there is no above, there is no below. If there is no within, there is no without. And that is all that is connection and relationship. If you do not have a connection with the children, there will not be respect. There will not be a role model or an ambassador that they will see in you. And that's why the leaders will not have respect of the peoples, because they have never once said, no, we're going to talk about the people and we're going to talk about the land. Put the agendas aside. It's about time we have leaders that talk about unification and oneness. It's about time we have leaders that talk about releasing ourselves from the need of talking about monies and dogma and all the vaccinations and forcing people to be this way or be that way. How about we just stop and put the sticks down and be love? How about we move some of that money that's for the arms race and we move that to healing and feeding the people that are poor and starving and drinking dirty water that makes them sick? And they die within 6 months. These leaders are supposed to be intelligent. What's their sermon? What's the sermon, dear lighted ones? Do you feel deep connection from those in your churches? If yes, then celebrate. We're not asking you to say goodbye to your church and your religions. That's not what we're asking. We're asking you that there will be deeper modifications of your beingness, because these are soul activations. These are DNA activations. They are cellular, and they are multidimensional. We are offering you what is the highest potential for you to be modified and harmonized and enhanced and allowanced in your highest vibration of you, which is allness. It's oneness. It's acceptance and allowance. There's zero discrimination of your higher self. Your higher self knows that all is all. I needed that experience. I needed to see the density of that before me because, wow, it's a part of me. I must be vibrating at something that's not in alignment, so let's integrate that. Your higher self has no experience of that's not okay, that's not okay. Your higher self is giving you information and you simply speak it. That's what seers do. That's what conduits do. We speak the energy. Joanna states it's not okay because she's the one in bed at night that's actually transmuting the children crying. Because that's what empaths and conduits do. They heal the energy of the collective.
that those people doing those actions, those people making those court cases go away, those people that are making those false claims and paying people back and forth to make sure things stay hidden in 4 and 5D light, they won't stay hidden, dear lighted ones. We're telling you that right now. That these seers will come forward tenfold, 100-fold, and they will speak because it needs to be transmuted. And you need to treat these children in every aspect of life, the women, the children, the elders, the life, the nature, the animals, everything needs to be treated with respect. Because you drink the water. Your food comes from the soil. You need those insects and they need you. Who are you now? Are you more and more integrated with your wholeness, releasing discrimination? I'm going to clothe that which needs to be clothed. And I'm going to reach out to those that need to be reached out to. And I'm going to pray for everybody that needs to be prayed for. And I'm going to do my best at forgiving all those that have repeatedly, over and over and over again, tried to steal and take and abuse me just because I am who I am. And every day I hear the cries of animals, land being taken away, women never being felt like they're heard, abusers getting away with abusing. And I see into those abusers' hearts and they've been abused. And there ain't no system out there that's healing any one of this. And then I ask myself and I cry again. And I ask God, why are my channels being suppressed when the abusers are just keeping abusing and everything can be healed? Can you allow me a higher understanding, Spirit? I want to understand this experience. And Spirit tells me there's people playing with your platforms, dear lighted ones, but there's going to be time to pay for that. We'll have it all cleaned out for you, child. It's part of our plan to have you touch all the children so that they know that their higher self is aligned in their own light field. And just as Jesus did, touching the temples of everyone that came before him, he will activate, and I will activate through the Holy Christ, through the temple of God that is. And the light will flow through the entire beingness of all densities, and you will forget that you are not important, you will forget that you are not valued. Because in that one touch on the forehead, the Holy Christ ripples through you and the butterfly effect is brand new. That is God. And that is something that can only be learned when you're ready to face and to see and to speak about and to be 100 on your spirit. Your throat chakra is the 100% of your spirit. Your throat chakra is 100% of all of your lifetimes, ever orating, ever speaking, ever teaching, ever being that which is a singer or a teacher or a speaker. Your throat chakra needs to be practiced of your spirit. Higher vibrational thought forms, and then speaking those higher vibrational thought forms change the essences of the omnipresent. You're helping the collective in those loving thoughts and singing. Will you stand for your throat chakra today? We want all of you to take a deep breath. And in this moment of practicing your Sermon on the Mount, I want you to say out loud 3 things that you love about yourself and that you love about this reality, and I want you to celebrate where you are right now. And say it with your voice loud so that your cells in your body hear your fields. And you're going to set your field with this intention. My field is clear and cleansed, and I celebrate myself in my crystalline light. I breathe in crystalline light. My field is crystalline light. My body is crystalline light. I'm so grateful for the Holy Mother and the Holy Father and all that is Gaia supporting me, and all that I am is holy light. Thank you, Holy Spirit. My voice is that which is of my spirit. I speak the spirit of my truth. I speak the spirit of my transitioning. Every day I transition. I'm speaking truth ever more clearly and evermore and every day because I'm aligned with who I am. I speak the truth of my spirit. I'm grounded. And every day I tell my cells that I'm beautiful. And every day I tell my cells that I'm more light. And every day I tell myself that this planet is healing from the subjugation and limitation and control and enslavement and dominance. And every day I tell myself we are making a beautiful planet here on this planet, and I am the butterfly effect. I am the butterfly effect. My cells feel happy. My cells feel filled with joy. This is my sermon. I get to say it so. Thank you, Holy Mother, Father. Take a deep breath. We're reminding you that you are godly. Start acting like it, dear lighted ones. Be okay to let go that which is beneath you. You know it's beneath you because you keep fighting with your spirit inside of you. Is it ready to let go? Is it ready to let go? Is it ready to let go? Don't be a follower. Break all conformity and step into your destiny. Your voice is showing you, your heart is showing you, are you aligned? You have higher vibrational thoughts that come from the heavens. Why aren't you acting on it? Why aren't you speaking it? Can you hug yourself 3 times a day and say, I love the person I'm becoming. I love the who that I am right now. Because who am I changes every hour. I don't need nobody to tell me that. That's just who I am. I'm practicing my voice of spirit. That's what Jesus taught. That's why Jesus always moved about locations on the earth, and he spoke of great love, spoke of the flowers and the hills and the soils and the trees and the children. What leaders speak of this today, dear lighted ones? We're asking you to become more godly. Why? Because you are. It has nothing to do about where you came from or where you're going. It has to do with who you are. Can you let go of those smaller versions of you? We want you to reach up to that 100% that is spirituality. It's not dictated by anything. It's not ordained by anybody. It's just who you are, who you were born to be. It's who you are inside and out. It's in every cell. It's in your DNA. It's in you part being Pleiadian. It's in who you are being part Arcturian. Can you accept yourself in the right now? Can you celebrate yourself in the right now? Can you say hallelujah right now? Can you say it doesn't matter what the consequences are, I will speak truth because it matters when my voice trembles? Because it means it's so very much a part of my beingness. That's what matters when you have that biochemical experience going on inside and you shake from the inside out. It's because you know you're transforming yourself. That's how powerful spirit is. And the Holy Spirit will show you in so many ways that it can. And you'll get goosebumps and you'll get that rumbling and you get that butterfly effect. No, you're meant to be speaking spirit. And it has nothing to do about subjugation. No, it's about the liberation of love. That was always the message. Where did we get that skewed? There will be no beating. There will be no targeting. There will be no assassins. There will be no trafficking. There will be no shipping children back and forth. There will be no trading, no bidding, no betting. There will be no buying and selling of humans. We are sacred, and this ripples through to the very fiber of the core of this planet. Open your heart and say hallelujah. This is New Earth. The butterfly effect begins now. We will lift the enslavement from this planet. And every day there will be more and more awakening, and they will no longer keep the lies of those that want them to keep lies. And they will give back the money that were bought and traded and sold. And there will be no more people doing spell work and voodoo and putting people in jars to keep them frozen and to stop assets from being flowing to and them because they are not God. And they will know that when they take money for such, that their gifts will be taken off for such. And they will have equal opportunity to be left in poverty because they are not God. They don't have the right. And it will be a part of their soul lessons to think, perhaps maybe I can just follow universal laws and do magic for myself, do magic healing for myself. And maybe I can teach others how to heal themselves, and then maybe I can create a vocation and payments for that. We're offering you higher vibrational intelligence here, delighted ones. None of the underground is necessary. We've told you that from day one. And the billion-dollar business can be put back to the people for healing. So whatever you do in corruption, turn it around and serve the people. Of benevolence, of greater good, because you will be back. You're paving your next lifetime right now. And they're showing me that the Sermon on the Mount, that's so very powerful for so many of us. That's very powerful. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Creators. They're showing me that Sermon on the Mount is our aspects of us in the future that are showing the aspects of us in this right now moment. Your higher self is Jesus, obviously, giving that sermon to you because it's that reflection of God. It's the reflection of God saying, when nobody was there for me, God was there for me. When I cry every day being homeless, God's there. God's saying it's all being worked out. Just let go and celebrate where you are. Because you're going to be helping other people that are going to be going their own set of homelessness. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be taken out of their jobs. It's their time to learn that soul lesson. That's what builds unity and oneness. When you actually get to see those that you discriminated against, those are going to be the ones that need you the most, and you need them the most. That's why everybody that's done whatever punishments they thought they were done, there were so many opportunities for everybody to alter course and do what is right. And so now it's a matter of their karma has to be distributed, and only by God. Whatever they wanted for me, it will be in their own experience, as Jesus said. You clothed me not. You had the opportunities to return the money and you didn't. You had the opportunities to return what's rightfully mine and you didn't. And that which is meant as a soul test, that's Jesus and God saying, that's the sermon. The children deserve to be treated with great honor and respect. Our planet, our water, there is so much on our planet that we can be so celebratory for, because each and every one of us will be needed to be rewriting every aspect of reality that's going to be shifting and changing. And every light worker is going to be needed to bring love and compassion and healing. As we said, over the next 6 months, there's going to be a huge, waking up of those that will have to release a lot of dogmatic trauma. So be compassionate, right? Those of us that have been on the path for a while, we've worked through a lot of dogmatic trauma. We're there to be the gatekeepers, and we're there to be the light showers and the way showers of those that are just going through it now. And again, every day, what are the 3 positive things that of positive action that you can do to help others? There's no need for protesting. There's no need for that. You don't want to get in the vibration of war and attacking, right? Because you can never solve the problems. You can never have a positive outcome in that experience. So take three positive, loving actions that you can make something right. If you know that something needs to be made right, make it right. Don't waste any time. Make it right now. You want to show the universe that, no, I want to align with what's been going on inside of me. Guilt what guilt really is a way of a story unplaying that is telling you you're not in alignment of your higher self and your spirit. We call it guilt. It's just saying your higher self and you are not in alignment. You shouldn't be doing that. Just like an addiction. When you feel that guilt experience, as soon as you do something you know that you've told yourself you shouldn't do, that your higher self has said, perhaps not do that, you're ruining your body, you're damaging your cells, you're hurting another person, that is that higher self within you. We call it guilt. In dogma, it was called the sins, if you will, to make you not be sinful. That doesn't resolve your issue. That's why, again, religions will be all rewritten and just to be oneness and heal your issues. That guilt is saying, okay, what is this showing me? My higher self is saying, I don't need to do that anymore. I'm not aligned with my higher self. My higher self wants to speak truth. It's not okay that you did that to me. This is how that makes me feel. And I'm going to stand up for my body. I'm going to stand up for the health of my body. I'm going to stand up for the health of my spirit. My spirit needs higher vibrational environments. And I'm standing up for it. I want to be a positive action about releasing all trafficking on this system, on the planet. I'm a part of cleansing density at the very darkest levels. I'm a part of that. When I stand on that sermon, when I stand on that mount, that is who I am. That's why that powerful light comes through. That's why those injections of the infusion of the Christ comes through. That's who I am. Every night I pray. Every night I send light. Every night I transmute the children's cries. Every night I see how can we heal these children when they come out of that enslavement. God knows my alignment. That's why God's moving everybody out of the way. No, you're not going to assassinate her. You're not going to bring her down. Who the hell are you? Maybe you shouldn't be doing what you're doing if you don't want her to call you out. God's placing me there because I'm the token of truth. Just as Jesus was. You were not there for me. You fed me not. You didn't feed me. You wanted to take me out. So perhaps you stop acting like that and go within and heal. You cannot face it all you want. You have to face what you're doing and what you believe. If you have such disregard for somebody that you want to take them out and hurt them, that's a deep psychic wound. That's deep wounding about who you are in your own self-rejection. All of these things can be healed. Who are you? Be a part of positive change because you're a master now. We are preparing each and every one of you to walk as masters. Will you take the stand and be a master? Every day you wake up, speak as a master. I am speaking on behalf 100% of my spirit because I'm 100% spiritual. Body, heart, mind, and soul, I'm harmonizing as being spiritual. And it changes every day. What that means to you changes every day. And it's meant to, because you're growing with God every day. Your relationship with God changes every day. Your relationship with the planet changes every day. Your relationship with the forest change every day, because you're becoming more of a master. That's why masters go to all of these different locations and all of these different challenges to become more masterful. They go to the coldest locations. They go to the hottest locations. They sit for a year in the desert. They do these things because they know that they are godly and they're moving through their lessons of self-actualization. These are real, multi-dimensional, biophysical things of spirit. They're real things. Look them up about self-actualization. Joanna doesn't talk smack. These are real things to be with you, to help you alchemize, to help you know that you are God. And God will place those tests. God will say it's time for you to be a hermit. God will say it's time for you to get out there and speak. God will say it's time for you to pick up that mantle and be your destiny. God takes you through every step. And if you are not aligned as above, so below, you won't have an inner and an outer. These are just alchemic equations. Joanna teaches you this every time she comes on, unconditionally. Her passion is the people. Her passion is the higher intelligence. Her passion is integration of the heavens. And she will show you higher heavens, higher heavens, higher heavens. And she will show you what is before you, for you to question, for you to observe, for you to discern. Should I give my power to this, or should I give it back to me? Is God outside of me? Should I follow somebody else? Should I follow something? No, I'm going to follow me. Who am I today? What's my plan? What's my destiny, God? Work with me, God. You take me through every step. When I didn't eat, I went to this place that I was inspired to go to, and I went for a walk. And there was nothing on that walk but abundant blackberries, one of my very favorite berries. I could eat buckets of blackberries. I love blackberries. I'll have a blackberry on anything. I love blackberries. They remind me of my granny. They remind me of my childhood. They remind me of everything that is good in God. I love blackberries. And I was fed by blackberries. God knew that. I didn't know that. And as I picked those blackberries, I started thinking about my childhood. And boy, wow, I forgot I hadn't eaten in a few days, but I'm just thinking about that one memory. Well, I was picking blackberries with my sisters and my friend. And I remember all the scratches, but boy, oh boy, did we have a bucket of blackberries, and we took them home to our mom. Made a blackberry pie. And all my memories about not being hungry just kind of flew away. That's what God does. God takes you on a multidimensional journey. God knows you're hungry, so go for a walk. And you say, but I'm hungry, God. God says, just go for a walk. You don't know what you're going to find on that walk. You don't know what you're going to find on that mount. And just like that sermon, the words come out because you're connected with the Christ. And just like that talk, you're talking with all those beings and all those insects and all that land and all that grass, and it ripples through all time. The Holy Christ holds that within the grids. And you just go for your walk. And you're enjoying the sun, and you're getting your mind off your hungry tummy. And you got a few thoughts. Well, maybe I'll eat tomorrow, but that's okay. I'm going for a walk. God said go for a walk. I'm going to go for a walk. I do like walking. My feet are moving and my body feels good. I know I'm releasing some density. I'm going for my walk. God said go for a walk. I'm going for my walk. You stretch out your muscles and you're feeling good, and you're going for the walk, and you see the sun shining on your skin, and it feels so good to get your breath moving and your body moving. And you're just at peace going for your walk, and all of a sudden you come up with this beautiful smell and the scent of berries in the summer air. You're thinking, thank God for that. Thank God I'm coming more in tune with the scent of where I can find food. I'm a multidimensional being, just like John the Baptist. John the Baptist spent most of his time inside the nature places because that's where he was most comfortable. He was such an environmental little fairy. He had a lot of fairy DNA. And he would make sounds and noises and songs wherever he was. He was so connected with the earth, and the earth fed him. He could eat much which was in the forest and in the bushes. He knew what to eat. He was told and he was shown. Just like Joanna found that blackberry bush, and she was surprised and delighted multidimensionally with the scents and the sounds and the beautiful berries. She just ate right off the bush. She didn't need to wash them. We told her it was okay. And her tummy was delighted, and it brought through a pouring of memories with the most beloved, her granny that she loved so very much. And her granny was right there helping her pick the blackberries that were way up high she couldn't reach. And she just burst out in tears saying, "Thank you, God, I got something to eat today. And you gave me some beautiful memories. When I was hungry, who fed me? God does. And God will bless you with a memory. God will remind you that you're a multidimensional being and you're here for more times than you know. And you'll bring forward memories from past timelines and future timelines. And you remember the Baptist that walked anywhere the Baptist walked. They called him a Baptist. He's John to us, capital J, a gentle soul that spoke truth and triggered people. That was his story. And he was discriminated against also. It's part of your his stories. Histories. Where are the her stories, dear lighted ones? Are there going to be equal voices? Will there be ways in which you reach out to feed one another, which is the almighty mother's milk? Will you be there for one another and you hold your chest up high and you say, I am part of the Holy Creator? And the Holy Creator reminds me in every moment that I'm so powerful, that I'm a part of all nations and all races. I've been here before. I've been all colors. I've been all genders, and I've been all places. And I don't understand why people hate each other so. Can't they see we're all one, dear Mother, Father? And they will throw hate at you, and they will make you have a thick skin that we've prepared you for, dear daughter. Because you're going to say things and do things that nobody's done before or said before. And we're preparing you. So it will be okay that you don't eat for a couple of days, but we'll make sure we feed you. And we'll make sure that your vibration of love for this planet will be felt and known. That in your prayers every night, when you don't think nobody's watching, we are watching and we feel your cries. And we see you healing thousands and thousands of children. Thousands of children. How did we ever get so lost? The children need nourishment, dear lighted ones. They're not getting nourished. And who are you now? Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I love you. Thank you, Holy Spirit. That was 100%. Holy Christ. That was Mother and Father. Thank you, Holy Spirit. They're saying that I've just helped uplift the planet by that sermon. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. And thank you to all of you for assisting in aligning your hearts. I felt all of your hearts and just threading together, and the visions that we all have for New Earth and the visions that we have for our bodies. And we're teaching you all along the way that when the higher aspects of you and those sheaths come down for you to harmonize a new version of you, just know that there's going to be that kickback, and it's going to be pulling up those deep experiences that we just had a clearing right now, bringing up those experiences about who are you now, and every moment can be a sermon for you to realign with that version of you that you know who you are. Right? You know that when you're falling into old conformity, it doesn't fit with you anymore. And those are those moments to really take heed of, because you're showing yourself that you are aligning. You're showing yourself that you are ascending. You're showing yourself that you're an absolute factor of Earth, the butterfly effect. And you want to be a positive reflection of that, because you know you're going to be back. You know that you're going to be a part of healing humanity in profound, benevolent ways. And when you have those feelings that we call guilt, they're just words. That's your Holy Spirit. That's your holy higher self saying,
Let's clear this out and let's do something that's in alignment with who you are now. Because you're not a follower anymore. You're a leader. You're a leader of your own story. You're a leader of your own destiny. And you're going to be acting and behaving and speaking in ways that are of your higher self. As we said in our last video, you're going to have a new relationship with the omnipresence. And you're going to be challenging yourself to be higher vibrational and release the lower vibrational patterns of behaving and speaking and following and subjugating yourself and allowing yourself to be subjugated. No. And regardless of what those consequences are, because we say it as consequences, that's why so many people, I know because I went through it and it's only natural. And this is why so many of the children, go through life just shutting down and not talking. I did. Every crystalline child does. Because there's so much conformity that is normalized abuse. There's so much conformity that's normalized lower vibrational programs. And so what's the point? I don't know how many times I've said that. What's the point, Spirit? Nobody's listening to me. My channels are all shut down. What the fuck? What do you want me to keep doing this for? What's the point? And Spirit says, just keep going forward, keep going forward, keep going forward. There's things you don't even know that are coming down the line. There's things that are coming tomorrow you don't even know. Spirit's doing so much behind the scenes. Your higher self is doing so much behind the scenes. You have celestials. You have your higher self aspect. You have splitting your consciousness to make sure these things are prepared for you and things are being set up on that path for you. And those that aren't aligned, that are in disbelief, that aren't connected, remember, connection and relationship. That connection and relationship isn't there, and they'll look at you 100 times and you're going to have that thick skin. Because they're going to want you to validate your higher self. You can say, no, I'm not validating my higher self. I know who I am. And they'll be the ones that just need to move on and find somebody that will be okay with them spewing hate at them. Because that's where they're at in that moment. They're still God. They just don't want to accept that they're God. They have more fun trying to prove that other people aren't God. That's okay. Still a needed expression in reality creation. You just can choose not to be a part of that following pack of hate. No, I'm not going to play hate anymore. I'm going to be a part of every dollar that was spent to try and harm somebody or send spell work on somebody. No, I'm going to put that money into a little savings account. I'm going to send it to the people that we were hating on. There's an infinite number of ways that can be made up and made right. Are you going to be the speaker of your soul? Are you going to be the leader of your soul? Are you going to be the matching your higher self? If you're not going to match the higher self, that sheath is not going to meet you, and your gifts, your skills, your talents, your protection, your blessings, you having the way made, having the paperwork out on your benefit. As we said, 2 people that are sitting in jail that weren't 100% a part of the crime that they were committed from. They weren't 100% of that. So they're having the strength after listening to this podcast that how can they be a positive part of their alignment of who they are, saying, no, I'm going to make this right. Because how many thousands of other peoples were wrongly put in whatever? It could be whatever they were put in. And they were just blasphemed because they wanted to take the rap for somebody that was an official that got paid off when that official is the one that should be in jail. How many people are paid by officials to take the rap for somebody, Mr. Epstein, and all that's been involved in Epstein agendas? How many people are paid and money's going back and forth? Millions and millions of dollars going back and forth to false businesses, false corruption accounts, money's being paid here and there. So many people involved on one. Just take my example, and I'm very a player in this whole corruption experience, if you will. One divine feminine healer, leader, victim. How many people got paid back and forth? How many officials were involved? How many people were involved on every level? Bankers, judges, lawyers, police officers. How many people were involved in seeing the paperwork that something was falsified, something was done, and nobody stopped it? Nobody did anything right when they could have and they should have. That again is your soul test, and you're moving yourself into karma. You're moving yourself into your next timeline. You're moving yourself into the disease that won't be healed. God's not going to listen to you then. You've proven it. You're the one that made that equation to the universe. You've said, okay, universe, I'm going to take the money because I'm going to make an extra $1,000 here. I'm going to have that kickback. Okay, well then be ready for the kickback when you get a disease or you want something worked out for you and it was time for you to be clothed. Were you clothed? Did you know me? You want to know me because you pocket watch and you know God's going to bless me with something tenfold because people have had 10 years to make it right and they chose not to. So people know that God's going to make something right, and there's a lot of people pocket watching.
doing more spell work to make me forget my memory on all the times that they really disrespected me and wounded me and harmed me and laughed on me and spit on me, and then the list goes on and on. The list is as long as my arms on the betrayals that were done to me. The lying and the deceit and the falsification, and there was a lot of people involved. When will these 50 people come forward and do what is right for their own soul? Because God's going to bless me either you do something right or not. I don't need any of you to get the blessing from God, and that's what God's promised me. I'm a master, and I will get blessed by God in whatever way God blesses me, and it will be tenfold. These are for the redemptions of your souls. Anyone that is involved in a lower vibrational program, in a lower vibrational experience where they know that the innocent are being harmed and they're taking money, they're doing insurance frauds, they're doing romance schemes, they're doing inheritance frauds, and you know there's people in your families. I've had experience of this when I was a stylist. And one of my clients came in and she was very worried. She knew that I was a healer, and people in her family at the family dinners on Sunday were telling her that she was being forgetful of things, and they were projecting her into early dementia so that she could go into a home and they could take over her $1 million house. And she would come in every week and she would tell me about the stories that would happen around the dinner table and how she was being slowly and slowly coaxed into believing that she was losing her mind and she was crazy. And how many of that has happened to us psychics and seers and telepaths? Just because we don't have an ordinary 3D role. Even though I spent 13 years in a bank and I've worked in the government and I've had my own businesses and I've got business, private and public. I can speak anybody under a table. I can have a conversation with any leader in the world right now, and I'll talk them around the corner and in the table because I'm aligned with God. I'm a genius. I don't need to prove myself. I'm giving you an example. Those that don't know me, those that don't know anything about me, they would look at me because I'm a healer and I'm a light worker that, oh, she's just so gullible. We can do so much damage to her, and we could take her inheritance and we could do whatever. And we're going to do spell work on her and we're going to make her forget and we're going to switch her destiny. I've been here about 900 times, honey. And I walk with thousands and thousands of legions and deities and entities through a multiverse that you cannot even imagine. Your little spell work won't touch me. You harmed me for the first 3 years so that I could know how to heal it for others that have been enslaved in the underground programs, and their minds have been warped and trashed by ignorant people like you. And I'm talking about you, those people that are doing spell work that choose to be disregarding of sacred life. Those that are in corrupt programs and those that are corrupt officials and those that are corrupt leaders and secret little sect and all of those companies that think that you're doing good for the people and of service to the people, and you've done nothing but degrade humanity by blocking my programs, by blocking my channel, by paying to have people hit me. And I'm telling you, I'm an ancient wise one and I'm beyond what you even know. I don't have to prove it. God's already done that. Your spell work and your voodoo work and your jar work won't work. The jars will break and your houses will crack. However God will distribute your karma will be. I'm 100% spiritual. I know who I am and I'm beautiful. And I'm meant to speak sacred word. This is my sermon. This is my class. I am the teacher. And I will call out what I see. I will call out what God says. Speak, Joanna, speak. We have given you the gift of tongue, and so she shall speak. I call judgment on those that day after day do harm to the innocent and don't care. I call judgment on those that continue to do harm to those when they could make things right and they have the funds and the resources to make right and they choose not to. I call judgment on those that abuse energy and abuse their gifts to harm and take and steal and pilfer what is not yours to do. Understand the universal laws or don't play. It's quite simple. There's no more fence. That goes for every person on the planet. Every person on the planet will be showing themselves the creational reality equation. What are you vibrating at? What's your equal equation? Right use of free will and non-interference, and the law of balance. Your higher self would never, ever, ever, in a million trillion evers, would ever, ever tell you to take money to make sure that something doesn't go through for somebody that is absolutely just for that person to receive. Your higher self would never ever say, do as much as you can to make sure this person never receives. Your higher self would never do that. That's wounding. That's imbalance. That soul fragment's not being healed. Those are inner child woundings that are not being looked at. Your higher self would never ever say, do magic on somebody until they bleed. Your higher self would never say that. Because your higher self is absolutely 100% aligned with universal laws, the right use of free will and non-interference. Because it throws everything out of balance. And when you know that, when you live by that, you are leveling up. And if you choose not to, then so too is your equation. And therefore God is showing you those are your choices. You chose that. You chose not to alter your course. Therefore that's then. Joanna's merely speaking it. These are the new age, if you will. And we don't mean new age. We mean, no, this is the new era. And it is unity and oneness. That is the equation. What you do has a ripple effect to all of creation. Do you care? Do you care about the body that you will step in next time that you come around? Do you care about the families and those that you honor to be a part of that continuing growth story? Do you care about those people? If you do, don't do death magic and don't do voodoo in the house where those children are, because that next lifetime they're going to be your parents. Maybe they might just abuse you. They might not even choose to be a part of your experience because it was just so horrible. They have that right. You're paving every moment you step forward. Are you going to be aligned with who you are? Who are you? Are you leveling up to a new higher version of you? Can your teams place that beautiful sacred sheath on you so that everything kicks out that's not meant to be there, that's showing you that was never meant to be there? Thank you, God. Your rejection was my protection. God's been showing you those people that aren't right for you. Are you listening? God's showing you the people that are taking from you and stealing from you. And at family dinners, if you have those conversations where people are projecting and people are doing vibrational manipulation and people are doing statements like that, where they're projecting that an elderly person is forgetting and an elderly person is that, stand up for everybody in the family and say, no, how about we just respect that person? Because you're sitting for dinner in their house. How dare you? Take a knee. At what point are we going to stand for the vulnerable? It's been so normalized that we just walk over them as they're being impaled. We've normalized this type of abuse, and it's ridiculous. The bullies keep being bullying. It's not okay. People in your family that bully you and try to project that you're crazy because they want their narrative to be okay. They want their narrative of seeming like you're crazy so they can get an inheritance signed or an authority of your benefactor signed. Or they want to make sure that they're going to be first on the list for the inheritance of your house. If those conversations are going on in your house and you know that they are at the family table, you know they're going on in the discussions of the family room, you have to stand up and be your higher self in your spirit. Jesus is calling you everybody out. Because that vulnerable person, that aged person, that vulnerable person when you're going through a dark night of soul, that's going to be you. And who's going to stand up for you? When you were naked and you needed clothed, who clothed you? And that spirit showing you, no, you speak up for the vulnerable. If someone's projecting crazy at you, you stand and say, sit down, Satan. You don't have the right to talk about anybody else's experience. Have sacredness and respect for that being before you. They are your elder. Sit down. Because there's a lot of them in these communities, and that's how corruption breeds cancer in every community. All they care about is what's going on in the money. All they care about is how much they can romance scheme and how much little poisons they can put in the drinks and make people forget and do the little spell work of forgetfulness and do little confusions over court cases, do little confusion spells for the lawyers and the justice systems. I'm calling each and every one of you out karma. How dare you treat vulnerable that way? How dare you treat the justice that way? How dare you treat our systems of righteousness that are meant to be held for the people in service of the people and the greater good? I'm calling everybody out. Because when you need to be clothed, where are you going to go, honey? You're pocket watching the rich. When you need somebody to take care of you, because you choose to feel lowly about yourself, because you choose to feel nothing about yourself, and you're choosing to find yourself a man that's going to take care of you. No, get up, you take care of you. That's called being responsible. That's called being higher enlightened. That's called being self-reliant just on you and God. And that's where your lesson's going to be, honey. Everything's going to be taken from you until you get that. So your little romance schemes and your little inheritance schemes and your little stealing businesses from other people's schemes and your little agendas to put hit on people and spell work on people, boom, 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 it's coming right back. And then what? Are you going to heal then? Are you going to face yourself in the mirror? Are you going to heal yourself? How much destruction has to occur before you look at what you're doing? Don't allow conversations like that to occur in your house. You set the standard higher. This family dinner is about respect for all people at this table. Everybody at this table has a voice. Nobody will be projecting sickness, impalement, impairment, and ridiculousness to anybody at this table. They have a right to their story. And she's going to go to a lawyer with an impartial person, and they're going to set their will righteously. And everybody around the table, you better be fucking okay with it, because it's not for you to say, you selfish ass people. It's time these people need to be told and put into fucking place. Who the fuck is anybody to get upset about a will? My God, the greediness and the selfishness of these ignorant, arrogant people that are disconnected. And I am saying it on public TV. I'm saying it on this public broadcast because it happens in every house. The arrogance and the ignorance and the greediness has to stop. We are connected at the hearts. We are one, and your children deserve better role models. Shame on you. Shame on everybody that has those discussions. You want to come out of the playground now and you want to be higher vibrational, then stop acting like a bully and stop projecting impairment to the elderly that absolutely know what's going on. They know they're being manipulated. They don't deserve that. They put diapers on you. They might not have been the best grandparents. They might have not been the best parent, but it's up to you to be forgiving. It's up to you to set that higher standard. You had a better education. And my poor client, she absolutely knew that she was in the right. And I gave her the highest advice that I could from Spirit. Spirit, what's my part in this transaction? And I told her, your family may be taking advantage of you and maybe trying to push you in a narrative that you don't want to go. You're coming to me because you're telling me you don't want to be in that narrative. No, you're absolutely in alignment with who you are of your cognitive abilities. Nobody has the right to say what you are. Who the hell are you? Any of these crazy ass little stories that were about me, they had no right. They didn't even come and talk to me. They didn't even know me. So how is it for you to say who I am? You're just going to falsify a signature? Okay, so not only are claims false, not only are you falsifying documents, not only are you falsifying signatures, you're just going to go and do it anyways. That my voice doesn't even matter. I'm totally erased. But that was your intention anyways. Well, God has another plan. I'm your fucking elder. Sit down. Been here 900 times. I can talk any professor around the table. And? You going to tell me I'm crazy then? I know stuff that I shouldn't know because I didn't go to school for it? I don't have to validate anything. God will. Set higher standards, your lighted ones. Your elders need it. Because again, you're speaking that of which needs to be spoken. The vulnerable need you to stand up. The vulnerable need you to say, I'm going to take that mantle. That's God's test to you. That's the Jesus Christ test to you. Are you going to take that mantle when that time comes? Because I'm telling you right now, 100% each and every one of you listening today and those before you and those next to you and those behind you, they will be tested with the exact same thing. Will you break the conformity? Will you break the ignorance? Will you break the greediness? Will you break the selfishness of those platforms, of those patterns? Will you break the lineage curses? Every time a conversation like that comes up, you stand up for the vulnerable. You say, no, that's not okay. She can have whatever say she wants on her inheritance. She can have whatever say she wants on her house. They can have whatever they say in their bank account. It's up to them and their truth. Who the hell are you? Sit down, Satan. Needs to be said. Anybody involved with anybody else's inheritance or will needs to be done with a third-party, unbiased perspective with a lawyer. Should not be talked about at a table and bullied. Period. So be very discerning on what conversations go around the dinner table of the elders because they're being taken advantage of. Spirit shows me what goes on in those elder homes. So refer in the highest and the best. What's my part in this transaction? Spirit, may I be the highest version of me today. No, I'm going to stand up for my granny. I'm going to stand up for my grandpa. You can do whatever you want with your property, granny. You want to give it to the shelter down the road? You give it to the shelter down the road. I will support you. Are you aligned with spirit? Yes or no? When those conversations come up, will you be aligned with spirit? Yes or no? Those are tests for you, dear lighted ones. Who are you? Because spirit will make sure you will be clothed. Spirit's going to bring tests for everybody. Are you ready to take the mantle? Yes or no? Are you ready to stand up to the family bully when they say, no, that inheritance is mine? Who the hell are you? Did you earn it? Did you stand up for everybody behind their backs, or did you throw them under the bus every time the backs were turned? Everybody knows what goes on in their own families. You're here to set a better standard. And you can do it politely. You can do it with power of your voice. And you can do it with love in your voice and say, no, everybody's money is up to themselves and nothing more than that. And if you know somebody's being taken advantage of, then speak up. Make it right, because it's going to be your mantle that you're going to be practicing on. The children need to see you set a higher standard. Nobody speaks for you but you. Nobody makes decisions for you but you. And if it is an experience of your informity or your change of mental capabilities, then you go in with a doctor and an unbiased opinion that they don't have say either way of what goes. They just love you because they love you. And you release those people that have such greedy, selfish intentions. And they're constantly talking about what you're going to do with your inheritance. They're constantly pocket watching you. They're constantly targeting you to make sure you forget who you are so that they can get what they want. And they have no idea who you are as spirit. Sit down, thee Satan. I shed you from this room. You won't be coming back. It's enough of the abuse, delighted ones, and it happens in every house. Set the new standard. These are the sermons of the day. No more taking advantage of the vulnerable. Make sure that your grandparents and your parents have every support in you to do as they wish, and you will support that. And you will ask yourself in every moment, what is my part in this transaction, God? May I align with the highest universal laws? May I support that which is vulnerable? Because, dear lighted ones, make no mistake about this. You're vulnerable too. And there will be a time when you need to be fed and you will need to be clothed. And God forbid, that which might be in a jail, and who will come and visit you? These are character-building moments of your soul. Who are you? Are you going to release the corruption on this planet that happens in every household because everybody's been so conformed at being selfish? Because there's been no connection. Nobody has a right to say what's going on in anybody's will. And anybody questions and everybody makes that the point of conversation, you make sure you walk them right out that door. They don't deserve to be in your space. They're showing you who they are. And I'm calling you out. Nobody has a right to bully the vulnerable, and I'm speaking it. That's my mantle, and I will carry it. Across all nations, across all religions, across all races. Everybody has the right to be who they are. Everybody has the right to their experience and their story. Start setting higher standards, dear lighted ones. You're moving into 5D. Who are you? You want to be Christed, you ought to act like it and behave like it, and it comes from your soul. When you know somebody's being taken advantage of, when you know something's not right, you speak it. When you know you can make change, then make it. When you know you can speak change, then say it. When you know that you can stand in light, then be it. Be not the follower, dear lighted ones. Break conformity of the abuses. The vulnerable need your help. And ask more of your leaders. When have you spoken about healing the people and the lands, dear leader? Where's your money going? Follow that thread. Joanna speaks it every time she comes on. Not one penny's been returned, so you can tell the integrity of their hearts. They're all soul lessons. It's all very great and purposeful. And she's empowering you to be better and higher in yourself because you're 100% spiritual. And you know you are. You're just aligning with it, dear lighted ones. The elderly and the children and the animals and the land and the water and the air need your help. What part will you play? And you can stand and have very powerful loving. When you are aligned with your center, it is not a reaction of conversation. It is very sure and it is very clear. And you sit at your table as you're eating spaghetti and the rolls and the biscuits and the milk and the water. And you're so thankful that you actually have food before you because many homes don't, many families don't. And you will sit there and you say, no, there will be respectful conversation at this table. Every voice is heard and every voice is valued. And there will be no discussion and no projection of humiliation of where monies will go and where properties will go. It's not your say. Sit down, Satan. And you will start harmonizing, and you will start bringing the lion and that beast into a better version of itself when you stand and you be truth, because it needs to be spoken, and it will. And that's working with the demons in the room and showing them a new way. And some might walk out the door and never come back, and so be it. Send them on their way. And they'll find somebody else to pocket watch. But you can show the demons a new way by being new, by knowing that I worked through that demon too. I had a jealous demon too, and I worked through it. I faced my shadow. I faced my soul. Every day's a test, dear lighted ones. Who are you? Because it might be you being talked about at that table, and who's going to get what that's of yours, and you're listening right there, and you're saying, I can't believe what I'm listening to. They're talking to me as if I'm dead. They're talking to me as if they want me erased. They're talking about me as if they already got their names on an inheritance slip I haven't even signed. What's going on? Because they know of your fate. And God's got you 10 steps ahead already. God's got your stuff already protected, because they knew these people were only wanting your money, and they'll suck you dry and they'll come back for more. They don't care. They just want the money. They don't see you as the soul that you are. And you can show those beings to the door and have them never come back. And you can move and just move away. Change the locks. Change your phone number. Clean it out. These are all tests for your soul. Who are you? What mantle will you carry? Are you a follower, or will you set higher standards for your family and start living in the Christ? The version of Christ that is spiritual, not religious. Stand and be counted, dear lighted ones. Your voice is needed. Everybody stand up Thank you, Holy Spirit. Wow, that was awesome. Woo! Love it. Woo! Feels really good. Thank you, dear lighted ones. That felt so good. Oh my gosh, so much energy. I feel so aligned and so amazing right now. So our emails and our PayPal are below all of our videos. Please share feedback to YouTube about all the pilfering and all the stuff that goes on there. Share our videos, share our videos, share our videos. PayPal is below for donations. Our class is coming up on February 9th. If you want a session for healing, for aligning to your higher vibrational vocation, all of those sessions, make a payment to PayPal, $233 USD for 90 minutes. And then my 4 sessions are $533. And my sessions for healing, alignment, celestial, first contact, all that kind of stuff. Okay, dear lighted ones, we love you. We love you. Oh, we wanted to pull a just an oracle before we go. I got these new oracles. It's called, yay, Sacred Forest. Yay, Sacred Forest. So put your hands on your hearts and ask for a message. Ask for a message. Everybody stand up for the grannies and the grandpas. And the children. And the puppies and the kitties. Stand up for your elders, because you know what? You're one. You're going to be sitting at the table eating spaghetti. You're going to have somebody say something about you, and you're going to say, what the hell? No. Since when are we talking about my will at the fucking dinner table? No, private affairs. Get out. You're not eating my spaghetti. Too funny. Some people, God, the things that people do for money, it's just unbelievable. They can just be so ignorant and crass, and they don't even understand they're being it, because that's just, and again, we've normalized such low vibrational behavior. It's unbelievable, the behavior that has been normalized. Officials paying people off to make things go away, and police getting caught for taking money and bribes. It's just bullshit. We've normalized these things from our elites and our officials, the entertainment business. My God. But it's time. Everybody sit up. Everybody stand up. Everybody speak a higher mantle. Because we get to. And don't apologize for it. Don't apologize for standing up for the vulnerable. And if somebody makes you feel bad for standing up for the vulnerable, you need to get them the hell out of your house. They're the exact people that abuse the vulnerable.
And you can do it in a nice and loving one kind of way. I just had that conversation with God. Because people have just been so shitty to me. But I'm such a kind and nice person, and I always believe the best in people and blah, blah. No, you're not coming back to my life. Fuck off. It is that way now. Fuck off. That is a thing that I say now, and I'm going to say it to your face. You're not going to be anywhere near on my will. You're not going to be anywhere near on anything that I have to give. It's actually like that now. And I get to, because my voice fucking matters. And for 12 years, you've treated me like I don't matter. Well, I do fucking matter. Get out of my energy. So funny. So I said to God, so God said, Joanna, we got to prepare you. You're going to have a thick skin. There's going to be a lot of people that won't like what you have to say about religion. It's not about religion. No, we're higher vibrational beings. So that's the thing about conduits and psychics and empaths. We just say what is. Everybody gets so uptight because they're so hidden behind their religions that are doing nothing for them but making them small. And they'll fight tooth, nail, and stone. They'll fight till they're in the grave. And that's okay. I'm still going to say what I'm going to say. I have my right. It's my fucking right to be me. You want to feel like you're discriminated against and you're being targeted on your beliefs. No, I'm simply stating what is. And if you choose not to listen to what is, then stay off my channel. You come on because you want to bully and you want to take what's next and you want to take it back to your little ringleader and you want to feed it back to the elites that are paying you to silence and to be mean to me. So that just shows you where you're at. Go watch any of the channelers. Go watch Daryl Anka. Go watch Daniel Scranton. Go watch Solera on Raw. Go watch the channelers and they say the same thing. We are one, dear lighted ones, and there's no way around that. You're a multidimensional being. Self-actualization, the process of ascension is that process. And when you actualize that, you get to realize for yourself, well, maybe what I believed is not really that. Maybe I gave my power away to something that doesn't feel good anymore. I'm just saying it in a way that's point blank. Let's cut through the chase. And our card today is, I'm already there, girlfriend. I'm already there. I love my clients. I love you, Credo. I love my clients. Angela, I love all my clients. Don't let anybody get in your energy that doesn't need to be there, because some of them like to go and play games with the people online because they know that you're my clients and they try and send you negative energies. But Archangel Michael is protecting all of my beautiful guides and my beautiful clients. Archangel Michael is always protecting my clients because you guys always give back to me. Just know that. And anybody that just wants to be your friend out of nowhere because they see you on a chat group, discern. Because they like to pretend that they're all that. And sometimes they're just people that just want to get into your space because you know me. Yeah, I'm calling it. All right, Spirit, what's the message? Come through, Spirit. Arcturians are here. Hello, Arcturians. 7th dimensional, we are Arcturians. We're having so much fun watching you. We're a part of these energies that you're clearing out on your planet. It's like a big cleaning out, shaking things up so you can see what you've believed. They're having so much fun watching us, and they're with you in the higher realms. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Oh, wonderful. I love it. Ooh, look at this. I'm so excited about this one. It's called the Water Spirit. I don't know if it says manifesting dreams. Isn't that amazing? And we see a little sea otter. See, there's a little sea otter there. Just take in the picture of the Gaia. Do you see anything in the picture there? And you can put the notes below. Just soften your gaze, and what do you see? There's elementals and there's fairies and there's Gaia coming through for a message. Trust what messages you get. It's the Water Spirit. The Water Spirit is just allowing you to move fluidly. Just have your intention, then just let it go and allow. Do you see anything in the Gaia energy there? Do you see faces? Do you see energies? In every tree and every rock, see, there's a face right there. Right there, face right there, face right there. See, Gaia speaking to you. In everything that Gaia is, there's faces and there's energies. And they show themselves to you
because you're connecting with the energy and the vibrations and the intentions that Gaia uses in oracles and cards to speak with you. Your higher self, your angelic self, your fairy self saying, I'm one with you. There's many times where I go and I sit before a rock and I go and sit before a tree and I just soften my gaze and I just allow Gaia to speak to me. And just as you do with the elders, and they show you how you're connected to that energy. And it shows you that part of you that you're manifesting that part of that experience, because you wouldn't be able to see that face, you wouldn't be able to see that message and hear that message if you weren't a part of it, but you are. So you're manifesting that dream, as we showed you about that sheath. That sheath, and why they said the water spirit, because that Christed energy is through the water body only. How you manifest, how you alchemize, how you heal your diseases, it's all through the water body. And you activate that through your pure loving intention. Right? You activate your alchemy through your pure loving intention, through the water body, through the Holy Christ. The Holy Christ is your vibration of allness, your multidimensionality. It has nothing to do with religion. It is your vibration of all that is water, of all that is the Christ, of all that is God. And that's the vibration that the energies that we speak, they're codes, they're filled with codes. Everything that I say is just so many downloads, so many downloads, so many downloads, because there's a lot that's going to be tested, that we're going to be moving very quickly. And the reason why the energies and the higher selves came forward to say those things, the higher selves are showing you those conversations are going on in your own homes and nobody's approaching these issues. Whether it's your friend or your brother or your mother or your sister, tune into how they say things, because they might be having a conversation with you and you might not listen to it or hear it because you've been conformed to turn off, when really they're calling out for your help. And you have to take that higher stand and say, it's not okay that you're being talked to that way. How can I be of help? How can we get you some help? So you're all being tested. This is why we say what we say. And sometimes it might trigger people. It doesn't matter. I don't care. Then you need to go and face that. There's being people taken advantage of every day in their homes. They're being bullied. They're being projected at. They're being talked into things they're not wanting to do. They're not wanting to sign. And they need somebody to stand for them. And will you? God's asking you, will you? Will you be a part of New Earth? Will you be a part of making things right? Will you be a part of clearing away eons of subjugation and delineation and separation and discrimination? Jesus has come forward in each and every one of you in the crucifixion, the discrimination of Jesus. The crucifixion was discrimination. The powers that be at the time crucified Jesus because Jesus spoke of a God that transcended what they had been taught and written about. It was pure discrimination, and they knew the power that Jesus held because Jesus spoke of vibration. Jesus spoke of the Shekinah. Jesus spoke of the light and the love of all things. Without the church, without the pulpit, without the book, Jesus spoke of that which is God. It's a vibration aligned with the higher self. And they couldn't imagine because they didn't understand spirituality of self-actualization. They didn't understand chakras. They didn't understand the higher self. They didn't understand the many mansions. It's the same thing every master talks about when we come forward. We talk about the many mansions. We talk about how you self-actualize. We talk about who you are as a multivibrational being. That, my friends, is godly. How can it not be? And in our classes, we teach you that your biophysical experience is godly. God has designed you as a perfect divination of the heavens. How is any religion going to say that you're not? How is any religion going to say that chakras don't matter in God? Are you kidding me? The chakras are nothing but your God experience. You don't know what you're talking about. And it's okay. They can sit there. You move on your way of being spiritual. We're showing you these differences that will be activated in the collective, and you have to be okay with taking up a mantle. You have to be okay with saying, no, my granny needs her voice heard. We're going to make sure that we're going to go into a lawyer. There's going to be an unbiased party there. We're going to have it recorded, and we're going to make sure that her wills and her wants or needs are registered first. And none of these greedy people talking around the table that want to be first on that inheritance, that want to start setting up room in her back office, they're not going to have a chance in hell. They're going to say, no, go out and get your own job, go out and get your own house, go out and get right with God. Who the hell are you? Get your hands off the fucking inheritance. It ain't for you to make that decision. Stand up for those that need to be spoken for, because their voices have been suppressed and beaten on for so very long. You're here for a reason, because there's 7 and 8 of you that are preparing to be masters. You come here for the Christed vibration. You come here for the realignment of truth. You come here for the realignment to higher vibrational knowingness of your soul that speaks through here through the higher self. You will be carrying the staff. You will be carrying the mantle of the Christ. And that transcends every 3D operation on this planet. And you have to be confident enough to walk and create better. To write better. To have the voices of all included. Those are leaders, dear lighted ones. And be the one that stands up first and says, yes, Father, yes, Mother, yes, Gaia, yes, Collective, I am a sacred Trinity. I am the Holy Spirit. Will you stand up and take that mantle? Will you say out loud today that I claim my destiny, Holy Spirit, thank you. I claim my destiny, thank you, Holy Spirit. I claim my destiny, thank you, Holy Spirit. I claim my destiny, Holy Spirit, thank you. Will you take the mantle, dear lighted ones? Or will you get lost in rhetoric? Will you get lost in the erosions of the 3D that are ready to be pulled out? And you know they are because it's everywhere. It's in your homes, it's in your offices, it's in your schools. And be very sacred and soft and standing in your power of truth and positivity and kindness and compassion. When you stand up and say, I don't believe in what's going on, it's not okay. And I will be the change maker. Show that you are a master, and be a master. Joanna has shown you in very blatant proof. When you stand up and speak what needs to be spoken, you will be protected and you will be supported. When you see something that is not okay and the vulnerable are being harmed, speak and stand up and you will be supported and you will be protected. And trust in God, trust the process of making your soul brand new. Hallelujah, the heaven is here. Thank you, dear lighted ones, and we will end this sermon today, for your tummies are hungry, and you have much to look forward to in your dreaming and your nighttime excursions with your celestials. We wish you love and light. If you would like to make a donation, we are very much appreciative and grateful for it. And the links will be below. If you wish appointments, we are grateful for that. And we will meet you in the Heavenly Council Room meetings. And we will meet you upon light ships. And we're always there helping in you and healing you and helping you become your highest version of you. For that's why you are here, to enjoy this ride. Be celebratory of where you are right now. For it is the portal of all that you are. And we thank you, dear lighted ones. Namaste. Thank you, dear lighted ones. And we will sign off in that. We love you so very much. Thank you.